another assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. This is absolutely crazy. This is where we're at. I was hanging out at the mall when I got word there were shots fired at Trump's golf course while he was golfing. And there was some reporting that it may have been related to an assassination attempt. We didn't know, but preliminary reports were that uninvolved individuals away from the president got into an altercation. It was not an assassination attempt. And then news dropped. In fact, it was a man who was hiding in the tree line with a rifle, body armor, a backpack. Secret Service opened fire on the man. He fled. They apprehended him. We have a lot more information about this gentleman now. I shouldn't call him that, but this would-be assassin. We know who the suspect is, I should say. And it appears that this is a Biden-Harris supporter, though the individual says he's not a Democrat or a Republican. He allegedly, according to numerous reports, fought in Ukraine, and there's some indication that he may have actually been a part of their international coalition, helping to recruit and fight on the front lines. So there are questions now about his ties to this foreign government, what that means, why he would want to target Donald Trump. Trump is, of course, safe. J.D. Vance has just issued a statement. And so we'll be going through all the information that we have now. And then we have other news. Chris Rufo's got proof that migrants are eating cats. He's got a video of cats being cooked on a barbecue grill. And a guy who recorded the video a year ago, and the video was on social media a year ago, so this is well before any controversy, is saying they grilling cats. And they filmed it. It's actually a really funny video because there's cats walking around, and he's like, homie better go get missing because his homie's on the grill. And now the media is claiming it's a fake video. It's probably a chicken. You can tell it's not a chicken. You can tell that they're cooking cats. Okay. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we've got this ABC News affidavit story going viral, though it is questionable because it's an alleged affidavit that's allegedly been notarized, alleging that ABC News was giving preferential treatment to Kamala Harris. But again, it's all redacted, so we don't know for sure. We're going to get into all of that, my friends. But before we do, let's get a word in for our sponsor, Preserve Gold. Head over to preservegold.com/TimPool. Check out their amazing offers. Financial experts are urging Americans to prepare now. With inflation soaring, a border crisis affecting cities and small towns, and warnings of a recession, my friends, we are living in insane, unpredictable times, especially considering the lead story. You get it. To protect your retirement accounts and 401ks, you should strongly consider physical gold and silver. Right now, Preserve Gold has an exclusive offer for my viewers where you can get up to $15,000 in free gold and silver with a qualified purchase, as well as a free guide. Text TIM to 50505 to learn more, or visit preservegold.com/TimPool. Preserve Gold has hundreds of 5-star reviews, millions of dollars in trusted transactions, and happy clients. And I'm always talking about some kind of preparation and being prepared. I do think gold is pretty dang good and important. And I want to give a special thank you to Preserve Gold for sponsoring the show and helping us keep this show going. Also, head over to castbrew.com. Make sure to pick up your coffee because you need coffee. I need my coffee in the morning. Every morning, I do a double shot of Appalachian Nights. I put it in the espresso machine, and then I mix it in my protein shake. But you guys go ahead and do whatever you want. This is the end of Mr. Bokus Pumpkin Spice, but soon we will have the Focus with Mr. Bokus in memoriam. He was a good cat. He didn't make it, but he was a good cat. And of course, always become a member by going to timcast.com and clicking join us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting closer to the election. We have only 50 or so days until the most consequential election of our lifetime. And I know everyone says that every election, but I think you realize, considering this is the second time someone has tried to take the life of Donald Trump, it certainly is the case that this is the most consequential election. And we need your support. This show is only possible because you guys are members. And I really do mean that. So if you think we do a good job, if you want this show to continue challenging fake news and calling out the hypocrites, the liars, then go to timcast.com now. Click join us, sign up for $10 a month so we can keep doing this. We appreciate your support. But don't forget to also smash that like button right now on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel. Share the show. Sharing really does help. If every single person who watched this show right now shared it, we'd be bigger than CNN. Actually, I think we are actually bigger than CNN. But Fox News, they're pretty big. So thank you all so much for hanging out. Joining us tonight to talk about this and everything else is Kingsley Wilson.
Hi guys, yeah, I'm Kingsley Wilson. I am a Trump campaign alum. I currently do digital media at the Center for Renewing America, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention my organization just dropped a documentary today all about lawfare. You can go to thejeffclarkstory.com for more. But apart from that, happy to be with you guys tonight.
Hey, what's up? It's Raymond here. It's your favorite homegrown Timcast employee, blue-collar USMC vet, and I look forward to talking about Trump's assassination attempt. Second time, almost missed.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thanks for joining us on, I guess, this historic Monday. I didn't think we'd get another one of these this cycle, but here we are. I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow. I'm happy to co-host tonight. Let's get started.
All right, here's the big news. First, we'll start with the New York Post. Would-be Trump assassin's sniper nest revealed. Photos show AK-47 rifle, GoPro, and backpack in hidden spot. I think this is important context for people to consider. There's been a bunch of people who have been opining about this. It looks like he was setting this up in such a way. I'd imagine, and I think, Raymond, you might know better than I, but it looks like he was going to lay down, and he has that body armor set up on the fence so that he expected to be shot at.
Yes, he's got his protecting barrier. It's like his sandbags. He's in the middle of it. You can see him ready to go. So if they shoot at him, his body will be in the middle there, and then they'll take the deflection.
What's it called when in the prone position? Is that what it's called?
Prone, yeah. He should be prone.
You lay on your stomach and you're aiming forward, and then he's got the body. What looks like people said backpack, but that looks like he's got two different types of armor of some sort for.
They're ceramic plates. That's what they're
ceramic plates. That's what they're claiming. Wow. So he was expecting.
He's ready to go. He was ready.
Yeah.
To go.
He was expecting a shootout, which is, I think, all the more interesting that
and filming it.
Right. He was prepared to, I think, sort of become famous. And, you know, he did, he escaped from the scene and he had his car with a stolen plate on it. But apparently between the time the Bolo report went out, it was like 15 minutes when he was nabbed on Interstate 95. So it's interesting because there is a level of, like, to me, what says narcissism with the camera, but also preparedness. This is something that he was obviously thinking was high stakes. He wasn't just wandering onto the golf course. He came prepared. There are other reports that he had been there for like 12 hours.
Yeah, we have that story actually too. He had been waiting outside Trump's golf course for nearly 12 hours. But how did he know Trump was going to be there? Here's the scary thing, because if that's true that he was waiting there, that means that it was just he was waiting for any kind of opportunity.
A Sunday.
But this means he and others may be waiting in other areas where Trump is not, hoping they see him. And this was just the one location Trump went to.
We also got lucky that there was an eyewitness that seen him run out of the bushes. Yeah. They took a picture of him and took a picture of his plates. They gave the plates number to the police, and they were able to catch him down the road. If there was not someone there to take that pictures to let the police know, then he might have gotten away. So the suspect, his name is Ryan Routh. I think that's how they're pronouncing it. He says in this book where he was talking about the assassination of Trump, which is creepy, that he's not a Democrat or Republican. But I just want to point this out. Daily Mail says a neighbor described the registered Democrat as unusual and was not shocked to learn that guns were involved. There's a Biden-Harris sticker on what they say is his vehicle, and they say he was a registered Democrat.
And he's apparently donated over, I think it's something like 19 times to Democrat causes. I mean, he can say whatever he wants, but his actions are pretty clear in which direction he was leaning. I think it's interesting that he could have been there for 12 hours. One of the other reports I was reading was saying, there's a chance that even though this guy is apparently from Hawaii, that he had tried to get onto the golf course before just to see what security is like. So even though we're hearing from Secret Service that this was sort of an off-schedule event, there wasn't a formal plan for Trump to be there. It was sort of maybe a last minute. They came up with a security I'm sure they have security protocol in place for him golfing. He golfs all the time. But it is interesting that somehow he would either get information that this was happening so last minute, or somehow have been in the know enough to just be laying there and wait and get lucky.
Yeah, and apart from the donations too, before obviously social media websites scrubbed his accounts, people were, screenshotting. He was rabid, Trump derangement syndrome, supported BLM, the whole 9 yards. So, I mean, this guy was not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination.
We do have a quick fact check. I should say, maybe that's not the right way to phrase it, but Destin Kelly in the Super Chat saying it's not an AK, it's an SKS rifle. I'm not surprised the media got it wrong. So I will trust a random man super chatting into this show as a viewer who I believe this person is more correct, has a higher probability of being correct than the corporate press.
Well, especially the New York Post. If you remember, in the aftermath of the breaking news that this was happening, the New York Post reported that it was actually just two people firing at each other, had nothing to do with Trump, wasn't an assassination attempt. Of course, that turned out to be fake news. So don't trust the New York Post.
It was two people firing each other. It was just a Secret Service agent firing at a gunman who was.
Well, he didn't fire back, though.
He didn't fire back.
Yeah, so the initial reports were that he fired, they fired back. Now they're reporting he did not fire, they fired on him, he fled.
Crazy.
Great, yeah. Now, a lot of people are ragging on the Secret Service. I want to praise and commend them. I'm hearing people be like, how did this guy even get close enough to where the president was? Because it's a golf course. There's people all over the place. And he's walking on a private road where people are. The Secret Service scouted ahead in advance. That's what they should be doing. They caught him. They saw him and they opened fire on him. I mean, sounds like the Secret Service actually did their job. I don't want to say went above and beyond. Above and beyond would be they'd find him before he got to the perimeter, but doing their job is at scouting out in advance. Trump was 300 to 500 yards away with various shaped terrain blocking him. There was no line of sight at any point. I think Secret Service did a good job on this, and a suspect was apprehended. We believe this is the guy.
This is definitely better than Butler, right? I mean, Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. So Secret Service has certainly improved in this case. And again, maybe in that sense, it's because Trump golfs all the time and they have a tried and true protocol that basically they have to practice every time he takes the golf course. I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, I'm grateful that President Trump's okay. I think it's great that the Secret Service was able to intervene before any shots were fired. I feel like we are 2 months out from Butler, Pennsylvania, and the rally there and the shooting there. It seems weird to me that no one would be checking the perimeter. You'd think right now, in particular, the protocol would be even more intense than it normally is, even though this is sort of home turf for Trump. And you got Biden doing that interview saying, like, so glad the president's okay. Secret Service needs more resources. I mean, is this really a resource question that even when security is supposed to be heightened right now during this election after the first assassination attempt, there's still not enough there to secure the president?
There is so much here to break down. It's crazy. And so I always try to pace things out into segments so we can get to everything, but there's just too much in this story. Take a look at this from Raheem Kassam. On May 4th, 2024, the would-be Trump assassin Ryan Routh posted this on his Facebook page, which appears to be from the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. I asked ChatGPT to translate it, and so it looks like we have this document, and it is official documentation of presumably this guy, maybe not, maybe someone else that's redacted, joining up as part of the military service in Ukraine as part of Unit A7788. Now, maybe it's not him. Semaphore had interviewed this guy, I believe, a year ago. And he claimed to have meetings with the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, as well as to be involved in the International Volunteer Coalition. I believe they said the IVC has him listed on their website. This raises some very serious questions. I've talked about it quite a bit. I don't have it pulled up. I'm going to pull it up now because I pull this story up all the time. Maybe this story's fake. Politico says Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump backfire. This is January 11th, 2017. You've seen me bring this story up a lot. They've never retracted this. They've never issued a retraction on this story. That means Politico, on the record, 7.5 years ago, said Ukrainian government officials tried to help Hillary Clinton and undermine Trump. So I got a question. This guy has known ties to Ukraine. Now, Ukraine saying, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. He, according to various reports, was fighting in Ukraine. We don't know if it was officially with the government. There are these documents. He's allegedly, in his own words, according to Semaphore, was recruiting international volunteers to go fight in Ukraine. There are, I believe, and I'll put it this way, we must investigate Ukrainian involvement in the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. It would be ridiculous, partisan, and stupid to overlook that a country that previously was reported as trying to undermine Donald Trump in his first election, who everyone knows, right? When Donald Trump was asked in the debate, do you want Ukraine to win? He didn't say yes. He said, I want the killing to stop, which means there's going to be a negotiation. And Ukraine's attitude is the Democrats win this, we get 100 billion more. They will keep paying us because they want us to go after, they want us to hinder and harm Russia or whatever the reason is. Trump gets in. He negotiates a begrudging settlement. So Ukraine has a real reason to not want Trump to get elected. And then one of the international coalition organizer guys, whatever, who may be involved, I don't know, comes to, Florida. He apparently his last residence is Hawaii, and is setting up an attempt on Trump's life. Now, it may just be he acted completely of his own volition. What I'm saying is not that I think or know that he was ordered or in any way working with or anyone from the Ukrainian government was involved. I'm saying this is enough for any reasonable person to say, let's ask that question. Our investigation should take us there, and we should get official statements and documentation as to who he is and what he did. However, to be fair, anybody working any kind of intelligence, be it as crappy as Ukraine or as good as the U.S., there's not going to be a paper trail.
Well, word on the street is I heard a report that he didn't have a job all those years. So how is he going from Florida to North Carolina to Ukraine and Hawaii and back? If you don't have a job, how are you getting back and forth across the world? He did say he made $3,000 a month, but that's still not enough. I don't think to get plane tickets left and right. And also on the super chatter, the SKS is manufactured primarily in the Soviet Union. So it is from that area of the world.
Interesting.
I think that the likelihood that we get clear information before the election is very slim. And I think, again, to contrast with the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt, because we have to differentiate between the two, that's how insane this year is, we got very little information. The information we did get tried to say that shooter was motivated by just sort of general derangement, maybe general anti-political stance. They mentioned that he Googled both Trump rallies and Biden rallies. In this case, it's a lot harder to spin. And I think that's going to be one of the reasons that all of the federal agencies basically clam up and they don't want to talk about it. And I think it's, I know we all wish we had more information about the first assassination attempt sooner. I think there are members of Congress who are trying really hard to get it out. But when you are working against a sort of corrupt state that doesn't either want to admit failure or knows that they in some way are complicit in the lack of security around President Trump, it makes it unlikely that the voters will have formal clarification. Now, on the other hand, with the Biden-Harris sticker on his Trump, I'm sure voters feel pretty clearly about what is going on here, which is why you see Trump and Vance, I think kind of accurately directing a lot of attention to both the media and Kamala Harris herself with the language that's been used surrounding the campaign.
Yeah, and I think they're already trying to, as you say, shut up discussion about it. We can't get answers. And they're trying to accomplish that by flipping the rhetoric claims on President Trump, right? You see them on the mainstream media saying, oh, this is because President Trump has heightened the rhetoric. He's used aggressive language on the campaign trail, particularly about Springfield, Ohio. And that's why stuff like this is happening, when in reality, Democrats for months have been calling Trump Hitler. Representative Goldman recently said he needed to be eliminated. So they are the one ratcheting up the rhetoric and making political discourse in this country dangerous. And we see the fruits of that right here.
Yeah, I agree.
We got the story. We'll jump to this one from the Post-Millennial. Trump says Biden-Harris rhetoric to blame for second assassination attempt. He believed the rhetoric of Biden-Harris and he acted on it. Speaking with Fox News following the second suspected assassination attempt on Trump, candidate Donald Trump said that Joe Biden-Harris's rhetoric led to the attempt. He believed the rhetoric of Biden and Harris, and he acted on it. Their rhetoric is causing me to be shot at when I am the one who is going to save the country, and they are the ones that are destroying the country, both from the inside and out. Trump noted comments from Biden and Harris, the latter of which is now running against Trump, painting Trump as a threat to democracy, while in turn saying they are unity leaders. They are the opposite. These are people that want to destroy our country, adding that it's called the enemy from within. They are the real threat. They do it with a combination of rhetoric and lawsuits that wrap me up. They wrap me up in. These are the things that dangerous fools like the shooter listen to. This is the rhetoric they listen to. And the same with the first one. Now, Donald Trump has published a list that he shows of all of these statements, and we'll go through them. The first thing I want to say is 1 hour after reporting dropped that there was a shooting at the golf course where Trump was. And within this time frame, we're learning that this may have been an assassination attempt. Hakeem Jeffries says Trump's 2025 plan, it's going to ban abortion. We must stop them. And what I've said is, a lot of people have said, oh, you can't do, oh, man, what's wrong with you? He's allowed to say that tweet. I just feel like it's bad to say that tweet right after, within an hour of someone trying to shoot at the former president. They, whether it was scheduled or not, you take a look at all of the videos that are coming out now, and even after this, I think it was NBC News that changed the subject and said Trump and Vance are pushing conspiracy theories against immigrants. But they say like, well, just moments after the assassination attempt, Trump's rhetoric and blah, 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 as if to imply or to segue, yeah, Trump is bad, but what about, or the assassination attempt is bad, but what about this? Let's pull up the Donald Trump website. They say Democrats used increasingly incendiary rhetoric against President Trump in the days, weeks, and months leading up to the 2 assassination attempts. Kamala Harris repeatedly quote Trump as a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. She says, it's on us to recognize the threat Trump poses. Does one of us have to come out alive? Ha, ha, ha. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye. That's Joe Biden. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Trump is a threat to this nation. Biden says there is one existential threat. It's Donald Trump. And it goes on. Tim Waltz, are Republicans a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Gwen Waltz, bye-bye, Donald Trump. That one I don't think is all that big a deal, though. Come on.
Steve Cohen, Trump is an enemy of the United States.
That is a bold, bold statement. Maxine Waters, are Trump supporters preparing for a civil war against us? That one's not the same as saying Trump is an existential threat like we have from Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Mm-hmm. But look at all of this. The threat is not over. Trump is an existential threat. You can't have all of these politicians and personalities coming out on TV and screaming like Rachel Maddow is really nuts.
She's nuts.
Stacey Plassick, Trump needs to be shot.
Oh, she's
Wait,
the worst.
what?
Do you see that one?
Holy crap.
That's crazy.
What?
That should be at the top.
Yeah, seriously. And this is from June 2023.
Oh my gosh.
Democrat Stacey Plaskett says Trump needs to be shot in TV stumble over alleged mishandling of classified documents.
Yeah, I've seen this clip actually. She corrects herself by going, stopped. But, it's not great. It's not great. It's the first word that came to mind is shot.
I don't even want to play it on
No,
YouTube.
I wouldn't.
I don't even know if we should play it. So,
Like, what do they expect?
Wow.
Like, they're people, they're like the cult delusional mass formation psychosis side, and they say all these terrible things against one man for the last 8 years, 12 years. And what do they expect? Peace, calm from their crazy followers?
and then when the assassination attempt happens, they mock it. Vindman's wife.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you say? Something like all ears are safe, carry on or whatever.
Yeah.
They lose their minds over Laura Loomer posting what I would just call crude jokes or spicy tweets, depending on who you are. But I just look at those and I'm like, yeah, that's Laura. It's like, whatever. What are you going to do? So there's a lot of conservatives that are mad. They're saying it's too much. It's bad. The left is saying it's racist. There are people on the right saying this is racist. We don't need it. I just go, look, man, people can tweet and they can say what they want to say. The only people making that news are people who have nothing else to talk about. But I can't say this. Democrats and the media lost their mind over it. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't want to talk about this. But they mock Donald Trump facing assassination attempts. Mm-hmm. They make jokes about it, but then claim that Laura Loomer is stepping over the line. I'm sorry, man. I think it's fair to say that, we have another story for you. Trump says he hates Taylor Swift. It's like, eye roll. You know what I mean? Like, we get it. We get it. It's one thing to be critical of someone having tweets you think are crude or whatever. You're not, whatever. It's another thing. And if the Democrats came out and they said, we don't like these tweets, I say, yeah, well, I'm not a big fan either. Then they mock Trump over these assassination attempts. And I'm like, you have no moral high ground. Like, I don't care about mean tweets at all. Someone was stalking Donald Trump, intent on taking his life. If this happens, this country falls into bedlam. And I don't know, World War III follows, destabilization of the United States, what remains of the petrodollar, foreign military bases fall into chaos, China makes its moves, and then everything just starts falling apart. We don't want that.
I'm glad you brought up Rachel Vindman. Chris Carr, executive editor, has a story on this case in particular on Scanner, SCNR.com, because she deleted her ear tweet then said, she deleted it. And then she was like, it was flippant. Political violence is a serious issue, whether it's aimed at a former president, the media, immigrants, or political enemies, every incident should be addressed appropriately. And so there's this level of like, oh, I am contrite, but also they say bad things too. And someone responded by pointing out that she had initially doubled down, saying, I'm not sorry if you're triggered. Like, which one is it? Are you standing by what you said? Which, free speech, you're allowed to make say really horrible things. On the other hand, like, are you realizing that actually Americans are united in the sense that a threat to a president like an assassination attempt is horrifying and unifying in the sense that we are all against it? Trying to make a joke out of it actually makes you sort of the strange weirdo in this sense. Not to co-opt the word weird again.
I agree. And I think in moments like this, like the radical left is really showing their true colors, right? Mm-hmm. Like they would rather have President Trump be assassinated than he be president of this country again. And I think if you're a patriotic American, that's just like despicable. We can't have a political discourse if that is the reality. And for me as a conservative, that makes me want President Trump back in the White House that much more, right? If they're so fearful of him that they would be willing to have someone kill him and encourage that and support that, then clearly he is a threat to the deep state and everything they stand for. And that is someone that I want to see picking it apart.
Yeah, we have the tweets in question. Rachel Vindman, and this is the wife of one of the Vindman brothers. I'm not sure which one. She originally posted on X, "No ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon." I mean, that's I just inappropriate. We'll put it that way. Sorry you're triggered. I mean, no, I'm not. I don't care a little bit. Wow. And then said, I have deleted my tweet. It was flippant and political violence is a serious issue. Whether it's aimed at a former president, the media, immigrants, or political enemies, and every incident should be addressed appropriately if we want to change the tenor of our political discourse. Well, it is you and these ridiculous posts you make and the Democrats screaming at the top of their lungs that Trump is Hitler, is a fascist, will take your freedoms over and over and over again that is driving this stuff. And you know what's funny? Because I can sit here on the show every night and say, I pray for Joe Biden's safety. I want the man to be happy with his sitting on a rocking chair on his front porch. His grandkids are, having, it's funny because I would say his grandkids are playing with the dog or whatever, but his grandkids are like 30 or 40 years old. So his grandkids.
Not one that he acknowledges that's pretty young. But
and the dog bites everyone. Yeah. So.
Okay, well, not that dog and the younger grandkids.
They're eating the dogs.
They're eating the dogs. I want them to safely retire with smiles on their faces. And where warranted, I don't really care for the documents case against Joe Biden nor Donald Trump. But the fact they're going after against Donald Trump, then they should go after Joe Biden. But if they dropped both, I'd say, I don't care. Can we move on? Can Trump come in? And then the people who are in government who have committed crimes will be investigated. That's all true. But I don't want to see any political violence. Not for any of these people. I can tell you that Joe Biden is bad for this country, but how do we describe, how have I described the context of the modern political conflict? The machine state, the uniparty, wants to maintain the petrodollar, and Donald Trump wants to secure our borders and bring jobs that can boost the American economy. One is more focused on the U.S., one is more focused on, hegemonic Western power or whatever. But nowhere am I saying that they must be stopped because they're evil fascist Hitler? Now, you know what they do? I made a post mocking the idea, saying that Harris was like Hitler times 200, intentionally mocking what they say about Donald Trump. They took it seriously.
Yeah.
Really?
They took it seriously, ran articles about it. Tim Pool claims. It's just, you know what, man? What we want is everyone to chill. The problem is when we had the Summer of Love riots, when we get far left extremists at these universities, Democrats are deferential. They let them do whatever they want. It's only when it's the most extreme do they come out and go, oh, yeah, I guess this one was a bad one.
Well, and even now, maybe there will be more charges that come out or are announced. But right now, this guy's just being charged with gun-related crimes, which is crazy because he should be charged with, terrorism at the very least. Like, that's what they charged the January 6th protesters with. It's absolutely crazy to see them just announce only those charges right now. And I think the American people don't have confidence in the DOJ to carry this out even-handedly.
Right, especially since one of his two previous convictions was for like possession of a weapon of mass destruction or something, right? Like,
right, yeah.
So this guy is obviously someone who has posed a threat to society at large. So even if Trump wasn't on the golf course, I think there is a level of, do you think he was just hanging out to attack anybody who walked by. That seems like a threat, possible domestic terrorism to me. There are a lot of mass shooters that get brought up on domestic terrorism charges, whether we believe in legitimacy of those claims or not. Like, it's very strange to me. And I think that Americans are aware of the political rhetoric that alludes to violence. I think they maybe are a little bit numb to that because it just seems, maybe like sports talk where you're like, oh, we're going to, beat those guys up or whatever. But I don't think that they are used to actual political violence. This year, Mexico had a record number of assassination attempts. Reuters reporting it as 37 candidates were assassinated.
Jeez.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy? I don't want to be
on that
Mexico.
trajectory. Yeah, we're
Right.
on that trajectory.
Well, we're far away.
Thankfully, but if we keep going down this road, I mean, we've had 2 assassination attempts in a couple months?
4 plots, 2 attempts, almost.
But it is exponential too.
Yes.
When the dam breaks, the floodwaters are instant. So right now we're looking at a dam, and it is cracking. And if something were to happen to Donald Trump, then we very well could fall into territory of political assassinations in the double digits in no time. I mean, in a very short amount of time. Yeah.
Looking at that chart you had up earlier of all the Democrat politicians and the high-ranking Democrats saying threat to democracy and calls of violence, I looked up on Google, I figured it would work out, but nothing. I didn't find anything about Republicans. Any politicians, Republicans, calling anyone a threat to democracy, anyone calling a threat to the existence of the United States. Even Google didn't give me any articles about that. And I would figure there'd be some because they hate Republicans. The Google does.
Republicans are tepid.
Yeah, they're not calling for violence.
Republicans go, slow down there, Democrats. Democrats go, we must stop them by any means. And then you get this insanity. This guy went to great lengths to make, and fortunately the Secret Service stopped him, but I can't, it's hard to believe we're here,
I felt like his son's interview was sort of the best capture of a sentiment of, not every Democrat in America, but definitely a certain portion of people who are rabidly anti-Trump. His son did this interview with the Daily Mail. He's spoken to a couple outlets, and he said, which I understood, this is shocking to me. My father was always a good man and hardworking, like stuff you expect the person who is shocked by their family member's actions to say. And then he said, but of course, my father hates Trump, as every logical person does, every reasonable person does. So what you're saying is like he's a great guy, but also it's completely reasonable to hate Donald Trump. I actually think that's a little deranged. I understand not liking politicians. I understand not wanting to vote for them. Yep. But you hate someone so much because it's reasonable. That seems illogical to me.
So let's jump to this tweet from Benny Johnson, bringing up a report from CNN. Former FBI counterterrorism expert says he thinks the assassination attempt by Ryan Routh was likely politically motivated and was probably influenced by diatribes comparing Trump to Hitler. This is on CNN, ladies and gentlemen. Let's play the clip.
What does the fact that he wanted to survive say to you?
It says that he's not he's not suicidal, apparently. He wasn't going to take his own life if he was almost being captured. Clearly, we saw that he was captured without that. And it tells me that he's probably much more politically motivated. The last shooter in Pennsylvania, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to promote him in any way, but he was clearly a guy that was looking for the notoriety of taking that shot. I would think we're going to find that this guy's extremely politically motivated and that he probably was spurred on by much of the political diatribes that are going on these days, talking about Trump, equating him to Hitler and things like that. So I don't think this is the last we'll see of crazies out there trying to do this.
Yeah.
That is a bold report to come from CNN. When CNN is running a guy saying, yeah, when they compare Trump to Hitler, that's what causes this, and we are likely to see it again, things are getting hot. We also had that Secret Service agent after the first assassination attempt. Technically, the first one was in 2015 when a guy tried grabbing a gun from a cop and was stopped. So, we called this one the second, but only because we didn't call the first one an assassination attempt because nothing really happened. After a bullet hits Trump in the ear, now we're saying it is. This happens. Secret Service agent wrote an email. He said, this will happen again, and we all know it. Mm-hmm. And then it did.
Yeah. Which again raises the question of Biden's response is, well, Secret Service needs more resources. Did you only give them half the resources they needed before? Or like, why are we in a position where the answer is we need to direct more funding to Secret Service, who I'm not even sure is totally forgiven from the last time this happened, which by the way was 2 months ago. It seems like there's a broken system afoot, and I also think that there's a level of like, we just have to face the music here. We have a section of our political class that does not take accountability for their actions. And even though they're going to present themselves as the unity candidates, that we're here for everybody, they are going to continue to attack over and over again. It makes me think of Hillary Clinton and the baskets of deplorables, right? She is simultaneously saying Trump is the worst guy ever, this, whatever, and she's also attacking anybody who supports him. There is a level of like cognitive dissonance there where you're saying, I am the best choice because I'll unite the country. Also, I pretty much hate all of you.
Like Biden, he's the unifier. He's a great unifier. But then, half of the MAGA Republicans are extremists. So, and his speech is beautiful I wipe my butt speech.
And then there's the conundrum of Donald Trump saying they call themselves the unity ticket, but they're destroying this country. There is no off-ramp. As Phil Labonte likes to say, we're past the off-ramp. And I was asking people this morning, everyone seems to agree that how could this possibly turn around? And I'll put it this way. There not being an off-ramp means, in my opinion, we are not going to come to the point where we sit down with Democrats and say, well, that was pretty wild, let's calm down. But there is still an optimistic approach to what actually ends up happening, and that is, should Donald Trump win and we get legitimate DOJ actions, criminals get arrested, Trump brings on great people like RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, moderates who can help, but also some strong conservatives and anti-war types, libertarians. I think there's a strong possibility that while we will face some kind of strife from far left riots and extremists, it won't be civil war, it won't be bedlam, it won't be the collapse of this country. It'll just be tumult, hard times followed by good times. Pessimistic? I don't know. The West Coast secedes from the Union. Who knows? Trump wins, and then the Democrats just say, we out.
Well, I think Trump has to win, right? Like, this is really a do or die election because for President Trump, like, it's either the White House or the jailhouse. Like, he is going to die in prison with all of the charges that Democrats are levying against him if he does not win in November. So I think conservatives see something like that, and it does really feel like it's now or never. Like, this is truly the most important election of our lifetime. So winning is a must. We cannot afford to lose. Like, you think the political discourse is bad and filled with violence now. I mean, imagine if President Trump is spending the rest of his years on this earth rotting in a cell. It is going to get 10 times worse.
And I think Americans will feel unsafe because it's like, if they can go after Trump, they'll go after me.
We have a statement Donald Trump gave, quote, all of a sudden we heard shots being fired in the air. And this is breaking right now. And I guess probably 4 or 5, and it sounded like bullets. Secret Service knew immediately it was bullets, and they grabbed me. We got into the carts and we moved along pretty good. I was with an agent, and the agent did a fantastic job. There was no question that we were off that course. I also heard reports they tackled him.
Yeah, I saw that. Which he said after Butler, PA, really hurts.
I can
imagine. Made a joke. Joe Biden couldn't have handled that.
78, Yikes.
I think he said his shoes flew off because it was such an impact.
You can see him.
This time or in Butler? I know in Butler, because like Butler, he was like, let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes. There's something so funny about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They jumped on top of him and wow.
So I heard shots being fired, all of a sudden fired in there. And so he's basically the Secret Service fired at the dude.
Yep.
Can they just fire at people because they see a weapon?
They must have seen a guy holding a rifle in a prone position, and they went,
let's go.
Weapon!
Let's go now.
Well, I mean, if
you don't want to wait.
I know, but cops are different. I guess Secret Service is different than cops. Cops probably.
I would think.
I think it's
I don't know.
protocol.
I'm pretty sure if you're any law enforcement and someone's pointing a rifle at you, you are allowed to defend yourself.
Yeah, yes. But I wasn't sure if the guy was seeing him like a distance. Oh, there's a dude over there, or he was there in front of him, like standing there in front of him. Like I don't know the situation yet.
From
I
what
don't know if it matters.
They said that the Secret Service agent who was scouting the next pole course, I don't know, I'm not a golf person, saw the barrel of the gun sticking out from the bush. And I heard a different former sniper talk about it on air, and he was saying, this is something we're trained for because the barrel of a gun is straight and branches are not. And so it stands out. So it's not that he was like under fire himself. It's just that he knows what he's looking at.
I don't think it matters if someone is pointing directly at you, if they have a gun aimed and ready in any direction, there's, first of all, if you're a cop and someone's pointing directly away from you, but it's toward the vicinity of people,
Oh yeah,
cops are gonna stop that guy. If you're on a golf course and there is a rifle sticking out, if you're standing here and it's pointing, past you, you're still within a line of threat where the guy could aim at you, and that person clearly holding a rifle through the fence in the shrubs is intending on killing someone. So I think it's safe to assume you could be the target as a law enforcement officer. Probably he was going for Donald Trump. I can only imagine they saw that, and then immediately, like as soon as they saw it, they probably opened fire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a rifle ready to go.
And you see like the two little things right there. Like why does he have these things in front of him protecting him? It looks like he's like he's ready to go.
I think it's gonna get crazier. How many more?
We'll have a third?
50 days.
I mean, we are 50 days today.
It is 50
Today, yeah.
Holy crap!
We're so close. It's crazy.
I think for election night, we're going to do the show from a special. It's going to be a special event at a very large location in Wyoming, just far, far away from everything.
And to have somebody walk the perimeters and let us know what's going on.
Yeah, maybe it's actually a bad idea to go to the middle of nowhere, especially that close to Washington and Oregon.
Especially since our major airport is in Washington, D.C. I feel like that would make it difficult to get back.
No, there's Baltimore.
Yes, great. Baltimore.
Better.
Hooray!
You can fly into Harrisburg from Atlanta and drive down 2 hours.
Anyways, we'll figure out our
There you
election
go.
day plans.
There
If there's
are
a bunker, if
Pittsburgh's
there's
2 hours away.
There's little small ones.
West Virginia is actually such a great spot because we're like 2 hours from Pittsburgh. We're an hour from Baltimore, an hour from D.C., 2 hours from, we say Harrisburg?
Harrisburg's 2 hours. Philly's like 4, I think.
Richmond's
4.
3.
Yeah. It's a good spot.
It's, if we were like in the horse and buggy days, you're talking a couple days travel, I guess.
that'd be rough. But so many things were worse than the horse and buggy days for that reason.
Yeah, thank God for 60.
I don't know. Was it or was it a lot better? It's like, would you be willing to accept like a lack of antiseptics, but if it meant that you didn't have the crackpot social media and you could mostly just live your life in peace and
It's
not
hard.
be bothered?
I think about this so regularly. I can't even tell you. So like electricity, huge fan, love that stuff. On the other hand,
Like
having
AC.
great. Having a strong social, a strong sense of culture and social cohesion with an understanding of a shared value system, then that's pretty nice, man.
I know.
Is it worth electricity? Maybe. Like, I would love to live in a world where we have both, but apparently I can't.
No, it's not. It's hard
You think it's not worth electricity? I don't know. I mean, there was a period where we had both.
I like
I
refrigerators.
would like to go back to that
That would
time.
be nice.
They're like
Can't go wrong with the fridge,
$18.99. Women couldn't vote.
Oh, there we go. No, I'm just kidding.
The thing is, if we had a strong culture and a strong set of shared values, then I think there are a lot of things that we look at now as like threats, like, oh, we're going to take the rights from women away. But if we were in a society where women felt like they were represented through their husbands, or they felt like their needs matters and were being looked after, then maybe it wouldn't be that big a deal, right? Like, the idea that you are under threat makes people say, oh, well, I have to have a seat at the table. I have to have representation. And I understand that impulse. On the other hand, if we had a strong culture, if we had high trust in our neighbors and our institutions, then we wouldn't have the same fears and anxieties that we have now.
Yep.
It's very deep.
Anyways, I think that should be your poll question: electricity or social cohesion. Which one would you want?
I'll do it right now.
It's not so much the electricity thing for me. It's I stubbed my toe and I've got an infection. I'm going to die, and there's nothing I can do about it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of wild to, I was watching like I think it was Outer Limits, actually. It wasn't a Civil War movie. 2 guys get transported back in time to the Civil War. And then some dude gets shot in the leg, and they're like, gotta cut his whole leg off. Because they didn't know how to just like sterilize. They just didn't, it's funny to me because like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but can't you just pour whiskey on it or something? Wouldn't that clean it out? But they
Alcohol helps.
They didn't wash their hands.
Yeah.
They didn't wash their hands.
A lot of people
And so-
don't do it nowadays.
That's true. That's
You ever
gross.
see those? I mean, they're fake, but like historical recreations where like, we gotta set this guy's bones. Somebody pour a bunch of whiskey in his mouth because that's their only painkiller. Like, can you imagine? I would never make it. I would just be dead. Like, there's nothing I can do.
It works.
You'd become an alcoholic. So
I mean, does it work fast enough if there's something going to shut? I digress. There's all kinds of things that I am grateful for in modern life. On the other hand, it does seem like some of these things seem to have been given at a price of losing a sense of who we are that creates a sense of safety and a sense of a roadmap forward, so to speak.
It's not. It's industrialization.
We're anti-factory.
Industrialization. The mass. Well, it was like, there's a society where you had a homestead and your life was just like your grandparents' life. You tended to the cows, you bred the cows, you bred the chickens, and I don't know, once every other week or maybe once a month, you'd go to town to pick up some supplies and check your mail. And that was it. Then you'd go home, you wake up, you tend to the animals, you hang out, you talk and play music with your friends and your family. Then you go to bed, you wake up, cows, pigs, chickens. Then industrialization happens. And now it's just, no one knows what they're doing or what their purpose is. Life is changing too rapidly. People are going insane because of it. It's, shared culture comes largely from having to live the same way as everybody else, waking up, tending to the animals and going to bed. Now, I don't know, people don't even have real jobs. Mm-hmm. Women are just doing OnlyFans. It's the, we industrialize everything, mass produce everything, overproduce everything. Now we have morbidly obese homeless people.
Well, dude, like 40% of our nation are obese. And that's insane. That could be low. It could be higher than 40. And
chronic diseases at like all-time highs, despite, modern medicine and everything that's supposed to make us healthier.
Everyone's on drugs. It's insane.
Yeah, man. Well, it's time to jump to the harsh realities of this world. And we have this from Christopher Rufo, the cat eaters of Ohio. The establishment media calls it a racist myth, but is it? The answer is no, it's not a racist myth. It's not racist that another culture eats cats. I want to make sure, as we have video proof of people eating cats, migrants in Ohio. They're not in Springfield, they're in Dayton, but it's very close. I want to make sure we stress this to the media. It is not racist to say that someone from another country eats cat, okay? It's the stupidest thing. Like, it's racist to say that. Why? Some countries eat certain animals, some other countries don't eat other animals. Some countries are more likely to eat snake. It's not racist. It's just a different culture that eats cats. And we don't eat cats here because cats are pets. And so we don't like that people come here, catch cats, and then eat them. And then they say, you're racist for saying that. No, I'm just pointing out someone's engaged in a social behavior that is incongruent with American traditional behavior. That being said, Chris Rufo has the video. Here we go.
Yo, what is this they got on the grill?
Did they kill some cats?
Man, listen, man. There go a cat right there. His ass better get missing, man. Look like his homies on the grill, man. What the fuck?
That's it. That's the video. This dude, that was an epic TikTok he posted. This video, I think it was TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Or it might be Instagram. Looks like Instagram, actually. It's Instagram, huh? Yeah. This video's from a year ago. Chris Rufo says they confirmed it was from a year ago. They checked the dates on it. They met the guy. They asked him and his son what happened. They said they were cooking cats. He asked neighbors. They said they do this a lot. And the media's claiming it's fake. They're claiming these are chickens. I got to tell you.
That is not a chicken.
There's no way that's chicken. I can't believe they tried to play this. If I zoom in, are we going to be able to see this better? I can't believe the media is trying to claim, and the left, these are chickens. First of all, take a look right here. What you're looking, I'm highlighting, it looks like there's more than one. So have you ever had a drumstick this big? No, these are not chickens, okay? So if you look at the back, right here, what I'm highlighting with the mouse, that is clearly a hind leg of a mammal of some sort, presumably a cat. Here, this looks like the cat's head twisted back, or that could be removed. This is the chest and the front paws that curl back. Chicken feet go backwards. I have chickens. I have many chickens. We have eaten many of them. 13 roosters. Yeah. They were delicious.
It was a good meal.
It was a great meal. Allison's rooster chili.
That chili was bomb.
Can't be beat.
That was good.
And their feet go backwards. Look at a rubber chicken. And what they're trying to claim is, oh, they're chickens, but the legs have been folded up. That's BS. Have you ever looked at a chicken? The chicken's body's like a football, and the legs are on the sides, drooping down to the sides. On mammals, the whole body goes up and the legs go out. You ever stretch your cat?
Yeah.
Its legs go straight down. Those are cats.
That's 100%
Those are
a
cats.
cat. That's definitely cat. Also, anyone who's like, that's a chicken, it clearly only buys like prepackaged chicken
Dinosaur
breast
chicken nuggets.
Or just even like chicken breast from the grocery store, right? They don't know what any of the bones from this animal would look like. This is so crazy.
But we have video evidence, and still mainstream media is like, don't believe your lying eyes. It's crazy to me how they are refusing to give an inch on this narrative.
Partially because they already came out with it's racist, which means they have to say like, yeah, that's because we believe people who eat cats are worse than us, and they don't want to have to admit to any kind of moral superiority.
There we go.
So this is a rotisserie chicken I just Googled. I did the same thing this morning. And you can, we've gone to Walmart and seen the rotisserie chickens right in the front of the store. We know what chickens look like when they're being cooked. Yo, this is a cat. So Chris Rufo's responded. He says, CBS News has published a response to the Cat Eaters of Ohio story. It's a supremely dishonest and completely partisan report, but let's break it down to show exactly how the establishment media maintains its lines of propaganda. The CBS report hinges on two arguments. First, the video shows what appears to be animal carcasses on a grill. The man filming the footage alleges without evidence that they are cats. He goes, without evidence, the eyewitness directly observed the incident and took a video recording of it, both of which are firsthand evidence.
Also, play that again. Another cat walks through. You can see how similar the body shapes are.
That's a good call.
I'm sorry, what more do you need?
So let me get this straight, CBS. Some dude in Ohio was picking up his son and saw people grilling full, unprepared chickens on their grill, and he went, that's weird, I better film it?
Yeah.
Or how about they look like cats, and he went, they're grilling cats.
And what about his lived experience? The left loves talking about their lived experience. This
Yeah, they're
one-
racist.
Yeah, they must be. I mean,
They are. They're racist because the guy who filmed this, he's a black man, and they're racist for telling him his lived experience is wrong.
Well, it's crazy too, because like if we were in a trial, this man's firsthand account would be credible witness testimony. Like it would stand up to scrutiny. So it's insane that CBS is like, no, not good enough.
Oh, yeah, I know. Now, what's really funny is how Chris Rufo breaks down how they figure this out. Dude, the amount of work that Chris Rufo and his team did to verify this puts newsrooms to shame. And I got to be honest, I've worked in newsrooms that I think did good jobs, and they would never go this far. Like, I got to be honest. If one guy says, I saw a guy grilling cats and here's a video of it, you'd be like, okay, we've got an eyewitness testimony. Now, usually you want 3 confirmations. So what you'd do then is you'd find two more people as witnesses to corroborate that people have done this, which they did. Yo, he went well beyond this. Check this out. Our interview with the eyewitness matched details of the original video and was unambiguous in conclusion. Quote, this African dude next door had the damn cat on the grill. They was barbecuing the damn cat. The eyewitness was familiar with the African families in the housing complex. His son played with their children. And his child's mother, who lived next door to the Africans, had observed them on at least one occasion butchering a large mammal in the street. So that's additional testimony that corroborates the story. The eyewitness had a close, unmediated look at the incident and maintained a consistent story over 1 year to multiple different groups, including his own peer group. He is familiar with barbecuing, and like anyone is familiar with cats. I got to stop there. Chris, you've got to correct this. Grilling and barbecuing are 2 different things, okay? They're 2 different things. Barbecuing is when you put the meat in and you close it. It goes for like 14 hours. You get it good. You get the sauce, whatever. Grilling, that's what we're talking about, grilling. Anyway, the source of his initial shock was the animal on the grill was not a chicken, burger, hot dog, or other usual fare. Again, he witnessed the incident firsthand, recorded a video, and maintained a consistent story over a year. So they did field interviews, speaking with over 6 people in the housing complex who confirmed the details. All of the residents of the complex were migrants from Africa, most commonly the Congo. They were familiar with the eyewitness, his child's mother, his son. They told us another African family that recently moved out of one of the units. They owned and used a blue grill. The father would go out with a knife and gather meat. There were stray cats breeding on the property, and some residents wanted to get rid of them. We also made the following direct observations on the scene. We matched the visuals of the video to the location. We found an abandoned grill that matched the make, model, and color in the video and the description in the interviews. We noticed there were at least 10 cats on the property, which appeared to be strays and were very comfortable with residents coming onto porches and milling about. So
Those cats are dumb if they're comfortable there.
Right.
So any journalist in New York, I tell you, they don't do any of this, as CBS proves. They'd make a phone call, get a source, and then instead of doing the work, they would say, one source says. There you go. Story's done.
Yeah.
Title, Donald Trump does backflip. Sources claim. Instead of actually looking to whether he did, they'll just, hey, a guy said it, so it must be true. Not only, but he went on to interview a chicken farmer. Oh. I mean, you didn't need to do that, Chris, but I appreciate that
He
you did.
did, though. CBS is like, no, fake. You don't know what a chicken's
this.
shaped like.
A bird wouldn't be able to rest upside down like that. Its heavy legs would cause it to flop to one side or the other, or the legs would just drop down to either side. There's no way for a bird to naturally sit that way. They're bottom-heavy creatures. The first one said, the most obvious evidence is the claws in the grill are facing the wrong way for it to be an avian creature. Size-wise, the only poultry the claws could be credibly compared to is a Cornish game hen or something small, but the carcasses are much larger than that. Literally any poultry farmer or butcher would tell you that's not a chicken or a waterfowl. Dude, I am but a humble Chicken City proprietor. And I looked at that and I was like, the claws are going down like cat paws. Maybe it's not a cat. I don't know, but it's certainly not a chicken.
It's a cat.
It's a cat.
It's a cat. They're eating the cats.
Not the dogs, though. Not the dogs, though. He interviewed a surgeon with practical experience with animals who explained the proportions of the animal, particularly the ilium to scapula distance, resembles a mammal, more specifically a cat, rather than a chicken. Look at these. Look at the quotes he got. Wow. He got a chicken farmer and a veterinary surgeon to comment on the story. And CBS is like, we didn't send any reporters. We talked to no one, but we read a tweet that said it was a chicken. That's news to us.
When sent this, they're now like, la, 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 we can't hear you.
That's very in-depth.
Wild. I mean, great for him, though, because this is such a big story, especially since Trump mentioned it during the debate. And I think this is something that will actually... There's a chance we see more reports like this coming from other places than Springfield. I know Andrew Torba of Gab was posting today that there's a town in Pennsylvania that has several busloads of what appear to be migrants arriving pretty regularly. And I think that it's something that people probably talk about amongst their neighbors, but also don't, because of the fear of being called racist, don't talk about very openly. I wonder how many years you could go back and find kind of videos like this from other people on social media.
Right. And even just a few months ago, I think there was that swan that was killed in upstate New York by illegals. So yeah, this kind of stuff has been happening, but the mainstream media obviously isn't reporting on it.
We got to issue a correction on that. We don't know that they were illegal immigrants who did that. The Biden-Harris administration are bringing these people in under special visas and programs. And so it's worse in many ways. These are people who are, let me put it this way, because I'm going to be very careful for all of our good friends in the media. I'm pro-immigration. It's got to be done legally, like Trump said, legally. He says, everybody come here, but you got to come legally. You got to come through the border. You got to fill out the paperwork. And I'll tell you why. Dumping 15,000 people in one small area hurts everyone, including the migrants. Sweden learned this lesson. You can't just tell people, here you go, have fun. You need to space them out into various areas so they can learn to adapt and survive in a totally different culture. What happens when you don't do that and you dump 15,000 people in one small town of 59,000 is they say, time to go get meat, pull out their knife and go walk around the neighborhood looking for meat. To be fair, this story is about people from the Congo, not Haiti. Okay, so these are migrants in a large migrant community. My understanding is that in this area of Dayton, it's largely people who move here and choose to live next to people who speak their language and share their culture. And then when someone says, there are too many cats, we got to do something about it, he says, we could eat cat. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to stress, I actually don't care if they want to eat cat. I'm not going to go and demand Donald Trump invade Vietnam to stop the dog eating. I think it's bad. I don't like it. There are a lot of animals I enjoy eating. And some of them I consider myself good friends with. Chickens, they're my buddies, and I will eat them. Some of them have names, they get to live. And they will make more of themselves, and then the ones we don't care for, we eat. Okay? But if in Haiti they eat cats, I'm not going to cry about it. I don't care. Meat's meat. Dude, if the world is ending and I'm starving, I'm going to eat every bug I find, so long as it doesn't kill me, okay? Roly-polies, can you eat those? I don't know. They say they're in the same family as like lobster or something. Fine. I'm eating food. In this instance, we are not starving. We have morbidly obese, homeless people. This is people who live in an area who do not want to see cats killed and eaten, would probably want to rescue these cats. And I'm pretty sure this is illegal animal cruelty because our laws protect dogs and cats. This is a culture shock to Americans who are seeing wave after wave of migrants being brought in under special programs without proper education or integration. And that is bad for the migrants and the Americans. And you know what really bothers me about this? When we say they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. What Democrats hear is, you're racist. What I hear is, can we help these people? They want food. Why are we literally here? Why are Democrats tolerating that African migrants are forced to walk around their streets with a knife hunting stray cats because they can't get food? Okay, this I do not accept. I say Democrats are racist because if I see an American poor person grilling a cat, I say, you need some help? You need help? Wow. Can I get you a cheeseburger? Like, we are America. We have food here. Instead, they say, no, you're racist.
See, I think there's an element of that, but I also think like so many of these immigrants, legal or not, are being given immense benefits, right? They're being given food stamps, free food in many instances, free healthcare, housing, whatever it is. So I think a lot of them, frankly, aren't starving. A lot of them aren't even working. This is just culturally something that they do and that they've carried over into the United States. And I think it's totally fair for us as American citizens to say not all cultures are equal. I recognize that some cultures don't assimilate well into my culture, and I don't want more of those people here. And I think that's what the people in Springfield, Ohio are trying to get across to these Democrat politicians that just keep slandering them as racists and bigots, etc. They are telling their elected representatives, we're having real issues with, there's been car crashes, there's been increases in disease, there's been obviously the cats situation, there's been reports of, geese missing from the parks. This is a city or a town that is in crisis. And I think really the onus is on the elected representatives who are supposed to be working on the behalf of these townspeople to ensure that their communities are safe from this kind of stuff. And they just have no interest in that.
Right. I think part of the question is this someone who is starving and desperate? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's maybe a question of like, if you had apple trees on your land, you would pick the apples, right? If you see a source of protein wandering around that apparently nobody wants there, you might say, okay, I'm just going to take it and eat it because this is something I do, in my culture. I'm aware of how to, prepare this animal, whatever it is. I think that we want, again, because it's a Western normative to keep cats as house pets, we're like, you must be really desperate in that circumstance. But we don't actually know that. And I think that's the problem. Like, how long until we see a court case where someone is trying to bring a civil case against their neighbor who thought they were murdering a stray cat to eat, and actually it was like their cat Fluffy or whatever. Like, it's very difficult to have two cultural values that are so different live next door to each other and expect there to be no consequences.
Go ahead. Just on the cat issue, the crashing and then hurting people is terrible. But every year by the ASPCA, about 500,000 cats are euthanized. So we have to spend money on all that, putting them down, housing them. Instead, we can maybe,
So Raymond is pro cat barbecue.
But what it's called grilling, by the way. I learned that today.
But what are they doing when they euthanize these cats? Maybe there's a compromise that's more efficient.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of just the cats at the kill shelter being put down, we set up a place for people who have that cultural value and want to eat the cats.
And that's kind of assimilation in a way.
I don't like our country like that. I really don't. I don't want to live in a country where people are eating cats and eating things that Americans for, millennia have considered like pets. And a part of your household, not millennia, centuries, have considered a part of the household. I think that like American culture, whether it's dogs, cats, horses, we've always considered certain animals truly a part of the household and a part of the family. So I think that's just like ingrained into our cultural fabric. And I don't know if you can just get rid of it.
I read a story where there were like two neighbors and like this dog kept, digging a hole on the fence line, and then it was damaging the plants on the other side and then the guy was like, if your dog comes on my property, I'm going to kill him. And the guy was like, chill, we'll put something up. The dog's on the property, the neighbor kills him. And then they went to court over it, and the court ordered like the guy who killed the dog to pay $150. Well, the dog did go on your property and you warned him. So, however, you killed it, you got to pay him $150. Yeah, I'm sorry, the life of my dog is not worth $150.
F&A.
Yeah, that's always been crazy to me. Like a dog is not a human, right? So I'm not going to suggest that the penalties are the same thing, but I mean, you kill my dog. We're talking, there better be a bigger punishment than that. There's got to be something.
Yes, give me your toe.
The question is, how much are you willing to spend to save the life of your dog? Honest question. You guys in the chat, answer this. Let's say you had $100 million in the bank. $100 million. 100 million just chilling there because you sold a startup company to Jeff Bezos. And so you just got like, I don't know, you got all this money. And so you're living small, you got a nice little house, and you have a dog. Let's say he's 6 years old, golden retriever. He gets sick. The doctor says, he's got an illness we could cure, but we don't know how much money it's going to cost. So, are you willing to save his life? How much would you be willing to spend if you had unlimited funds to save the life of your dog? I'm willing to bet anybody who's like 100 million, as much as I have to. 99 million? I mean, how much? Maybe not 99 million. That gets a little crazy. But, some people might say millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. When Mr. Bokus got sick, I think we spent like 15 or 20 grand on these insane medical treatments to like stem cell therapies. And we kept him alive for a year longer than he would have normally made it. And he was chilling. He pissed everywhere. So that was kind of annoying, but we loved him. And we spent what we could. If they told me, for $40,000, he'll be cured and he will live to be 15, I'd have said yes.
Easy money.
I can afford it. But I would spend that. I would. There certainly is a limit where I'm like, I don't know if I could, like even like 50 grand's a lot for a cat, but
If you got 100 mil, that's like nothing.
If you have 100 million, I don't have 100 million.
Well, that was your question though, right?
Right. If somebody had, if you had seemingly unlimited funds.
Yeah.
Like, here's another question. If you had unlimited money.
It's whatever.
You'd say, yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
Literally do whatever you have to do. If you had $1 million, how much would you spend? Because obviously there's a limit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most people, it's more than $100. I think, we see more than enough stories from people who are saying like, I need 10 grand for surgery for my dog and I can't afford it and I need your help. Like people are willing to spend so much to save their cats and dogs. Yeah. This I think is an angle of the story that needs to be brought up for all of these lefties who are like, oh, shut up, who cares? The fact that many Americans are begging for help because their cat is sick and it's $7,000 to give them the surgery they need, and they want to spend $7,000. So I can also say this. Grand larceny. You steal someone's cat and you eat it?
Oh, yeah, that's effed up.
See,
yes, I like that.
The value of a cat, here's the way I see it. If you're going to go buy a dog, like you're going to like a pound or whatever, and you're going to buy a dog, I don't know. And they say, this one's a special dog, it's $500. The dog is not worth $500. I'd say there should be a law that says something like after 6 months, the dog's value goes minimum 10 grand as an emotionally attached creature in your family.
I like it.
Because then you get into more serious charges. There are people who kidnap dogs.
Yeah.
What they do is they
killed they shot that singer lady's
Lady Gaga's dog.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, they kidnap the dog, hold it hostage, and then say if we recognize that people are willing to spend 10 grand to rescue their dog from kidnappers, we got to recognize that there's a reason why people are upset about cat eating.
For sure. I got my cat from the woods for free, and I think I've already spent $10,000. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think that there is an emotional attachment. Like, this is a value that I like, and probably other Western countries have it for sure, but America has a pet insurance industry. Like, you can buy health insurance for your pet now because people are expected to give them a certain amount of care. And in part, we kind of touched on this earlier, that's a modern convenience because medicine and our understanding of pets, our resources have grown. We can have a luxury of having like pet health insurance. But I think it's not like when you're saying, oh, well, like the ones that could euthanize could just get eaten instead. I sort of think like, I don't like this value at all because we look at them differently. Ideally, we'd live in a world where like we are able to find a way around euthanizing cats because there would be a way of managing their population better. Maybe, I don't know what it would be, but it seems weird to be like, you could either die or die by being eaten. Like the worst.
So I guess all of the childless cat ladies should vote for Trump.
That's why I said they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Let's jump to this next story from from Daily Mail. ABC refuses to comment on viral whistleblower affidavit claiming Kamala Harris received debate help. All right. They say the unverified document said to be a sworn affidavit signed by Notary Public on September 9th has sparked controversy as it has spread online. I got to be honest. This was the lead headline story for Daily Mail. And I didn't want to do a segment on it because here's where we're at. An alleged affidavit that has allegedly been notarized alleges that ABC was giving Kamala Harris favored treatment in the debate. That is too many degrees of allegations. All the names and everything are redacted. We don't know who wrote it. The notarization is redacted, so we don't even know if it's actually notarized. And in it are allegations that we don't know are true. However, that being said, here are the allegations. It says, my name is blank. I reside at blank, New York. I have worked at ABC News for over 10 years in various technical administrative positions. Since the acquisition of ABC News in 1996, I have observed significant transformations in the nature of news reporting at the organization. Full stop. 1996 was longer than 10 years ago. So I'm not sure I understand. You've been there for 10 years, but you've seen the changes well before you were there. Was your dad working there and you hung out with him at work?
Or could you say, like, I worked there 5 years, went worked at a different work, came back, worked for another 5 years? Like, it's 10 years cumulative?
Yeah, but it's not for over 10 years in various technical administrative positions.
Because they say technical, like, just to play devil's advocate.
Maybe. For the record, I do not endorse Trump, blah, blah, blah. So what they basically claim is that this is filled out on the 9th, the day before the debate. They said these things are being done for Kamala Harris and that they mailed themselves a copy of the affidavit so that it would be postmarked. None of this proves anything. This document was released a week after, or, 4 days after the debate. So we don't know that it was actually signed or dated on the 9th. It claims it was. We don't know who the notary is. And I got to tell you guys, this trope of I mailed myself a copy is not legally admissible, and it proves nothing. I'll just tell you, okay? You get an envelope, right? You take any kind of steamer, and you can just steam the envelope open, take out whatever you want, put whatever you want in, and then close it right back up. And it's postmarked. It doesn't mean anything. But considering we know that ABC News was extremely biased and biased in these ways, I'm wondering what you guys think about this.
I do know that Lindsay Davis did admit that, not about this specifically, but kind of this plays into the part of it, that she did admit that they were planning on fact-checking Trump because of the previous debate with Trump and Biden. Like, that was their plan ahead of time.
Kamala Harris at the debate said there are no soldiers in any active combat zone, and they said nothing to her.
Yeah.
And that's just like, dude, you want to talk about, call it a lie, call it being wrong, but it is so shockingly wrong and obviously wrong. They could have just been like, Madam Vice President, that if I were the moderator, and this is why I'll never be a moderator for a debate, I would have been like, Madam Vice President, that statement was so shockingly ignorant. It alarms me to have to say this to you, but we have many troops in combat zones. In fact, just recently, 3 were injured. I mean, we have troops in Iraq. We have troops in Syria. This has all been major news. It is ongoing. And for you to have said that, I am alarmed at the either ignorance or incompetence of you in such a position. Anyway.
But they won't.
That's why I shouldn't be a debate moderator, because I'm biased.
I mean, and she pushed a number of other hoaxes that have been debunked, right? She talked about the Charlottesville hoax, very fine people on both sides. She talked about Trump's bloodbath comments. So they obviously were biased. I think anyone watching that debate could see that for themselves. Mm-hmm. They only fact-checked President Trump. And when they did try to press Kamala Harris, the questions were framed as softballs. So I think for the American people watching, it was, plain as day. There's bias here. But I agree with you. I think the notary being redacted really kind of gives me a lot of pause in terms of verifying the authenticity of this.
It's hard to say because I don't like when there are things redacted that could really be the details that confirm. On the other hand, we know that Trump having to basically fact check Kamala Harris had an impact on his performance. I mean, if you're given a minute to respond, but you need to spend the first 30 seconds correcting this bloodbath claim, well, you only have 30 seconds more of time. If you know that you're going to have to argue with the moderators over, every, whether or not you were being sarcastic and that's good enough for David Muir, you know that ultimately your opponent's going to have more time speaking. And I think that is sort of the problem with not holding the moderators accountable. Whether or not there's a question of questions earlier or anything like that, the way they behave impacted the foundational rules of the debate. When they said, we're doing the debate this way, podium standing, everyone's get this amount of time. Well, Trump didn't get the amount of time he wanted because he was asked to do something that Kamala Harris was not asked to do, which is defend himself from fact checks and false claims. Either you fact check both of them and treat them the same way, or I don't know, you stop being the worst, ABC.
And what did Mike Johnson? She said she sent him one on the 9th. It was dated on the 9th, so it should have gotten there. It's been 7 days. Wouldn't he let us know by now? Like, hey, I did get that letter from ABC.
And I just don't think it's real. Jesse Single tweeted, "Some of the dumbest people on the GD planet are billionaires." And he posted Bill Ackman saying, "If indeed this turns out to be true, which is looking increasingly likely, consider the character of the presidential candidate that would cheat in a debate." Blah, blah, blah. So here's the affidavit. Here's the notary. It's, okay, look. I'm sorry. Notarization doesn't always require a seal. Doesn't always require, but you guys have gotten notarizations, right?
Yes.
And they seal. Mm-hmm. They take the seal and they press the paper to show the official seal. It's not a requirement necessarily, but, or I should say it's not a requirement everywhere. But there's no seal on this, despite the fact the signature looks written in pen. But the notary public is redacted. Why would you redact the notary? Well, we're worried about the notary's safety. Well, then you've published nothing.
Mm-hmm. It's really blank. It's just a bunch of words with no foundation. Who's the person?
I should make an affidavit. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to write one up, and then I'm going to redact everything, and it's going to be an affidavit that Donald Trump landed a backflip in frend of me. Oh. I'm going to say I watched him do it
on a Sunday.
I was at the White House. And
I won't say when.
I won't say when.
Redacted.
Where?
Notarized verification. Then I'll sign it, and then I'll cover it up. And then I'll be like, look, it proves it. It proves that it's looking increasingly likely that Donald Trump did a backflip. Look, let's be real. ABC News was biased. We all know it. Mm-hmm. We don't need this affidavit to prove anything. However, that being said, I mean, we're not talking about the moon being made of cheese. It is entirely possible the affidavit is real. Just, I don't know.
I think why people are considering that it might be authentic too is not just that, the moderators were biased. Of course they were. But Kamala Harris gave very scripted, kind of canned responses. I remember when I was watching the debate, I was even wondering, did she get these beforehand? Because it was almost as if she was just reading lines that she had rehearsed over and over again. And maybe she just prepped really well. But it had me wondering.
But regardless of whether they gave the questions, we all know what the questions are generally going to be. So likely she does debate prep and they say, immigration is a big topic, abortion's a big topic, and here are the bullet points of what you got to say. And of course, for Kamala Harris, the bullet points were all like insult Trump, Trump. And then Trump got mad at being insulted.
And she's from middle class. She grew up middle class.
That's right.
Let's not forget that, folks.
And her first answer was just garbled nonsense.
I mean, most of them were, let's be real. Yeah. But I think to your point, she did seem... And again, maybe she got the questions. Maybe she's just well rehearsed because she would hear one buzzword and know she had to give this answer, right? I felt like you could see it in her body language. She had prepared on how to stand, and it was the moments that she seemed caught off guard, like when she had to stand there and look at Donald Trump. I felt like no one had coached her on what to do. That's why she couldn't figure out if she should have her hand up or if she should laugh or she had no idea what to do. The other time that I felt like she looked sort of flustered was there was that moment when they brought up like Mr. Trump. You've said that she's Indian, she's black, and he's like, whatever she wants to be is fine by me. And they turned to Kamala Harris and they're like, do you want to address that? And that's the time when she looked the farthest down at the podium and was sort of like, well, he's just a bad guy. Like she seemed the most uncomfortable then, which made me also think that was one of the questions that caught her off guard. Maybe she wasn't prepped well enough for it. Maybe they weren't expecting the conversation to go that way, and so she just figured she could get by without addressing it. I don't know. I assume she would have had a nice little zinger for that one because it was in the news media for so long.
Yeah, so this is fake until we get evidence. until we get evidence of it not being.
So they're saying because it's notarized, it's authentic. Like the notary.
It's not any notarized though.
That's what I don't get though. Like you could go to a notary public and be like, "Hey, could you notarize this for me?" And they're like, "This is a Word document from your computer." I'm sure I could notarize it, but like
that's fine. So
no, you need a witness too.
Yep, you need a witness. Yeah. That's right. And so I've recently gotten some things notarized because we do standard business stuff and legal documents, and then when we're filling out like tax forms and stuff, you got to get a notarization. So we'll go to like the library, or they've got people can get notary.
Little small shops in their house, they have them all the time.
And then a lady sits down, and then she's like, "And who's going to be the witness?" And so there's the person signing, and then the witness, and then they have a little seal, and they put it over the paper, and they go, and they press it, and then it puts the seal in it, and then there you go. So you could notarize whatever you want.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's a good idea.
The notary doesn't have to know what this is. She can just notarize it and be like,
No.
sure.
We should like get the stupidest thing notarized.
Like a fake affidavit?
It would be official, yeah.
Ian Crossland is the Moon Lord, and we want this notarized.
There you go.
And they'll be like, okay,
It's
I guess. I mean,
witnessed and notarized.
witnessed and notarized by someone who has the authority to do so. Ian is Moon Lord.
I'm just not sure the notary in this case like adds weight to whether it's credible or not. Like, you could get a document notarized, but is the notary saying, yes, I have verified all of their claims? No.
True. No.
Well, let's jump to this story from the Post Millennial. Taylor Swift's Kamala endorsement backfires. However, Donald Trump couldn't help himself and maybe wants the backfire to backfire. So here's basically what happens. After Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris, YouGov did a poll and found that 20% said they were somewhat or much less likely to vote for Harris after Swift identified as a Harris supporter, which is funny. Only, I think, what was it, like 8% said that they would now consider supporting Kamala Harris. This means that her endorsement backfired. It actually hurt Kamala Harris, unless, of course, the intention was always to help Donald Trump. Donald Trump, of course, let me stress this. I think they say something like 66% said it didn't move their vote one way or the other. Okay. Trump then, of course, comes out and posts on Truth, I hate Taylor Swift, as if to ensure that the indifferent Swifties who said, I don't care one way or another, are now going to be like, I don't like Donald Trump, so now I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. And guess what? Brittany Mahomes questioning her support of Trump after his blistering takedown of Taylor Swift left her shaken to the core. Well, Brittany, calm down. You're all right. All right. But Brittany Mahomes is deeply bothered by Trump's very public attack on her close friend Taylor Swift, according to sources who claim...
A source. We can't say who. Well, just a source. We don't know.
Notarized.
So, basically, quote, she is questioning her support of Donald Trump after he lashed out at Taylor, saying he hates her. I don't know. Whatever.
This is like the grocery store.
Talk about Taylor Swift.
This is like, I'm on it. Don't worry.
I feel like this is a critique of like the democratic system that this could sway people. Like, do they not realize that we can't afford food, gas, like rent? And like, it's just insane to me that this is what moves people. I hate it.
But it didn't. That's the reality.
Right.
It didn't actually move anyone. And rather than use the debate as a chance to present policy to win people over with her sparkling personality, Kamala Harris's team was like, tee up that Taylor Swift endorsement. We got to release it right now because that's what people will remember from this. That's what we want. I mean, to me, I could care less who Taylor Swift is voting for. In fact, I thought it would have been cooler and more mysterious if she sat this one out. But she has repeatedly endorsed Democrats, so odds are she was going to probably back the Democrat here. I don't think anyone is surprised by this. So it's a missed opportunity. You get these flashy headlines. I think Trump tweeting, I hate Taylor Swift was sort of unnecessary. Obviously, there was a change in the news anyways. But I think Kamala Harris relying on pop stars to win her this mysterious youth vote that never ever really materializes is stupid.
I mean, I woke up real quick. You'll go next, but I woke up and I see this on Twitter and I'm thinking back in my head like, what the F? Where did this come from? Why is he tweeting this?
It's 5D chess.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly what's going on. See, Donald Trump is a genius. He knows that he can't let Kamala Harris. I'm kidding, by the way, but let me just, the left is going to take me seriously, so I'm going to stop right now and just say I'm kidding. Donald Trump, there is strategy behind it. I just don't know if it's good strategy. The argument that I see from Trump supporters is that he wants to make sure that the narrative surrounding him and the election, one, focuses on him always and never Kamala Harris, and two, doesn't let Kamala Harris rebut by bringing up economic issues. So if right now there is something negative about Trump that is serious, and he's done this before, mind you, Trump has done things in the past where we're like, why would he do this? And then you're like, guys, did you see that story this morning that Trump kicked a dog or something? I'm kidding. He never kicked a dog. My point is there would be a negative story about Trump's presidency. And then Trump would come out and say something ridiculous like, I hate Taylor Swift. And the media stops talking about the bad press. I'm wondering, some have suggested that following the debate, Kamala Harris has gotten some good polls. They're starting to come through. And the probability, even Nate Silver's probability, has gone up for her. So Trump tweets out, I hate Taylor Swift. And that is, he just kicked the media in the balls, gave them everything they wanted. Right now, I guarantee you, editors at big newspapers are going, which story do we run with? Trump is down 2 points or Trump hates Taylor Swift? They're like, ooh, if we put Taylor Swift in the headline, we're going to get a million hits. No, for sure. Now, I'm not saying Trump is sitting there as this 5D chess playing genius. I'm kidding. There's a strong possibility Trump is slouched in his chair watching Fox News, and then they go, Taylor Swift is endorsing Kamala, and he just sitting there and goes, I hate Taylor Swift, and he just posts it.
See,
it
I
could
hope
be
he's
that simple.
I hope he's like you. Like you'll be doing on your phone. You'll be like, I'm gonna post this thing, and everyone's gonna freak out. Watch, like he. That's like what you do all the like. If anyone wants to know what we do pre-show, it's just him looking
I like this Trump guy.
Look, I was kind of hoping the follow-up would be like, I hate Taylor Swift. She keeps teasing a new album. When is she gonna release Rep TV? I don't understand. Like, you know what I mean?
If the
like,
next tweet was,
yeah.
She won't really, that was a good.
He's like, I haven't been attempted in a while, so let me throw this out there, and hopefully one of the Swifties will come after me.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
No, I think this is classic Trump, and maybe that's the strategy, Tim. Maybe you're right. Also, he could have just seen, polling that the endorsement backfired and was like, oh, let me make Kamala Harris own her a little bit more if it's truly backfiring. Let me make her defend her.
Or like watch the video of hers or a concert.
Make Kamala Harris talk about Taylor Swift instead of, Tim Waltz had a video where he said, Swifties, we're going to beat Trump or something like that.
Yes, because he's a deeply inspiring man. I mean, the reality is that like this mythical Swiftie voting bloc is obviously not going to materialize. And if she were serious about winning youth voters, she would talk about the economy. Youth voters are deeply concerned about the economy. I think this is one of the ways you can see she's a very one-dimensional candidate. She's not willing to herself go out there and advocate. She won't go on, Rachel Ray in the morning or Drew Barrymore's show. Those would be like slam dunk softball interviews for her. And instead, she's like, please just send in all of the pomp and circumstance, Taylor Swift celebrities, so that I don't have to really represent myself to the American people. And that's not enough. If undecided voters are saying, hey, our big block about Kamala Harris is that we don't know anything about her, it doesn't matter if Taylor Swift's endorsed her, especially because Taylor Swift didn't say anything specific.
So why do you think it is that this is YouGov that did this poll? After Taylor Swift endorses Kamala, 20% of people were less likely to vote for Kamala Harris. Do people find Taylor Swift off-putting? I mean, she's a famous celebrity, but she hurt Kamala Harris pretty badly, and I think it's funny.
I don't think young people, like I do YouGov all the time. I don't think young people take YouGov polls. Like you got to sign up for it, and they send it to you in your emails.
So you think it's like older Americans who are like,
I do.
Interesting. I tend to think it's a level of like political fatigue. I think, this is anecdotal.
You have to sign up for it. Like they don't just say, "Hey, young kid, you want to?"
Yeah, you have to opt in, which is a level of like, if you're not even that interested in voting, why would you do that? I think that there is a level of like people want their media and their entertainment to be separate from politics because we are oversaturated now, and so I think maybe in some ways. I think what we're saying has merit, but I also think that there is a chance that people are like, actually, Taylor Swift, you're ruining Taylor Swift for me. Like, I just want to listen to your album about, the man who did you wrong, and I don't want you to talk about politics.
What if I think it's fair to say, and I was saying this a long time ago, a large portion of Taylor Swift's fans are probably coming from more moderate families. These are not the Cardi B WAP. Is Cardi B who did WAP? Was that her?
I don't know.
Was that her or Megan?
There was 2 of them on it, right?
I think it was 3 of them, actually. I don't know. Whatever. You get the point. Yeah. Like, Taylor Swift songs are nowhere near that gross or bad. Yeah. She's not singing about doing drugs.
Or sexy
Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Good job, pop culture.
Oh. What does Taylor Swift sing about mostly? Like, dating bad guys?
Yeah.
So bad choices, right?
Is that all of her songs?
Basically about picking the wrong guy.
And I like it that way. Like, I don't need her political opinion. I want her to reflect on her emotions and her experiences. I think she has one song about, like, her mom was really sick with cancer. She's got a couple, like, other things in there. But, for the most part, let her reflect on wanting love, finding love being bad, losing it, trying again. Like, let her be this, like, person who sings about pop music and be nothing else. I don't need her to talk about politics.
I do like that one song she put out called Aaron Burr Was Right and I Don't Like Alexander Hamilton, where she goes into the deep debate between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. It really resonated with me as someone who deeply cares of politics.
Is Tim's favorite song "Shake It Off" about?
It's a good song.
I know, it's your favorite.
It's very catchy.
I just think you want.
That's not my favorite.
Oh, Taylor Swift song, though. I mean, not.
Yeah, I guess.
You talk about it.
But I just don't know any of other songs.
Look, she has 2 songs that I think of as overtly political, which is "You Need to Calm Down."
Yeah.
They're actually off the
yeah,
same
The
album.
MAGA hats in the video.
Right. And
That one's
that was
good.
her coming out way later than Katy Perry in favor of gay
Right.
marriage, kind of. She was super
And
late
a
to
lot
that
of
party.
her fans were upset about that.
Yeah.
Because fans who have been with her since the country days, who are, a little bit more conservative, they were really upset to see her do that.
Yeah, but it just
But-
seemed like trying to grasp that, look, no, I'm on your side about this issue that I've never brought up before. And then the other one off the same album, if I'm not wrong, was The Man, which is her feminist. If I were a man, you would be nicer to me, even though my entire career is about being a female, beautiful pop singer. So kind of maybe not true at all. I just think that they both sounded weird. They don't fit, and fans don't like them as much as the media did.
I'm willing to bet that you mentioned her early country. She got big in Nashville, right? Wasn't she a Nashville singer?
I think
She May
is.
Award winner a
And
lot.
I think she is a registered Tennessee voter. She was when she got involved in that race a couple years ago.
Yeah,
that
against
Blackburn-
Marsha Blackburn. Yeah.
I think a lot of her core fan base and her original fan base, they are not this woke leftist,
Wasn't
they're
it
not
like-
Lil Nas X. So when she comes out for Kamala, they just come out and say, I'm not voting for her. I don't want,
Some
it's
big
bad.
country star gave her a start, like Toby
Tim
Keith
McGraw.
or Tim McGraw, yeah, or someone
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. And so she was beloved in conservative country circles, especially
Did
in
he
the South.
die?
Yes.
Yeah.
Toby?
Right? Pretty recently. He was
Yes.
sick.
I think there was some big controversy where people were like, she did
Yeah,
not.
she didn't mention it.
No, she did. She put out a statement.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
I keep seeing this going around. I remember
Okay.
reading her statement. I mean, it was I think 24 hours later, but maybe that's totally fair
Why-
if you're going to call the family first.
Why can't she just not do politics? Don't write a song about, the problem with You Need to Calm Down? It's a good song, it's catchy. And the first verse is about the Twitter mob and people online talking smack. And she's like, oh my God. And it's awesome. The second verse has a bunch of redneck conservative people screaming and looking like morons. And it's like, why are you doing that? If she kept it neutral, she could have still gotten the same point across without insulting conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
You can celebrate your friend as a guy who wears a dress, fine, I guess, I don't care. But why are you intentionally just deriding and insulting these other people, depicting them as slack-jawed, toothless, weirdos? Just don't do that. Because the first verse is good,
I think this is the effect of being in Hollywood for too long, which is that progressive media outlets or centers say you should punch down at those people. The random middle American that she's sort of alluding to making fun of is never going to have platforms she does.
This is a really good point. Go see Am I Racist? Did you guys see it?
I heard good things. I
I haven't seen it yet. I need to.
It is the
I've
best
seen
movie.
clips.
It is the best movie I've seen in maybe 5 years. It's the first comedy I've seen in a really long time that actually is a comedy. And I say this because Matt Walsh made the point. He says, in this movie, we're punching up at these wealthy, woke DEI grifters and making them the butt of the joke. Borat mocked and insulted working class people around the United States. And it's that's a really good point. Borat he's a Hollywood actor elite who goes around and making fools of regular working class Americans. And Matt Walsh is a community college dropout podcaster who goes around making a mockery of these DEI grifters. But as we're approaching the end of this subject, and before we go into super chats, I just want to say, I got to do. I feel like I haven't done a bigger review of it. I don't know if I will. And I wish the PCC crew had their studio set up here so I could jump on PCC and talk about it. But it is a comedy. It is not a political movie. There is slapstick. Okay, it is pure comedy. There's a Matt Walsh fight scene.
Oh, yeah?
Oh
awesome.
man, it is so good. Shout out to Dallas Saunier because he messaged me and he's saying, thank you for appreciating my contribution. They reenact the Justice. I don't want to ruin the
that's so
movie,
good.
but you got to see it. I was in a packed theater. It wasn't 100%. It was 90% full. It was full to the point where if I looked behind me and there were single seats available because people don't want to sit next to each other. But for the most part, it was as full as you'd say a full theater was. It was full to the point where I considered not trying to get a different one so I could get better seats. But ultimately we got pretty close up. It's funny from start to finish. It is a comedy mockumentary. They don't preach at all. Matt Walsh doesn't come in here and say these DEI grifters are bad. He literally becomes a DEI grifter, entertains it the whole way through, and just makes all these people look super dumb. I have no notes. It could not have been done better. I leave movies going like, you know what they should have done? They should have done this. I always got some opinion on the movie. I watched that and I was like, I am jealous. They nailed it.
I heard they got like top 3 or top 5 over the weekend.
Yep.
One of the
top movies.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is.
I can't believe Matt Walsh was able to pull this off watching him.
The disguise too.
He looks like Matt though, you know?
Right, yeah.
But there's another crazy thing about it is these DEI grifters don't even know who he is. It's like, this is your field, okay? Yeah. This is one of your principal critics in your field. They don't know who he is. But I got to give credit to Matt. He's going to be on later this week. And his comedy performance, I don't want to spoil it, but I was dying, sides hurting, laughing how good it was. There's this bit, like the Robin DiAngelo scene, without spoiling too much, is like when you listen to these people and actually get to hear what their seminars are, that's what they nailed. He just asks her like, you're like, what's an example of like a microaggression? She's like, maybe over smiling. And it's like, what? And then he goes on to like give this scenario that proves the absurdity. He's not mean to her. He doesn't say she's wrong. He just says, oh, so, you know, what if I was to do this? And then you just see her face and you see how the logic is gone.
Nice.
Everyone's busting out laughing. I cannot praise this movie enough. I am so jealous at how well they did this. I wish I could make movies like that. It's so good. We're going to go to Super Chats. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with all of your friends. You just got to go to them and say, guys, it's a great show, the best show. At least that's what I'm told by the host of the show. And go to timcast.com right now. Click join us. We need your support. I do have news. I was talking with my lawyer today. And the lawsuit against the Harris campaign is, we may have an update for you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a strong possibility. And I will say as lightly as I can, you may find out from the news before you find out from me. So we'll just we'll see what happens. And but I think we're in a really good position. And I am shocked and offended at the egregious statements of the Harris campaign and the accusations they made against me. Going through with my lawyer the issue, when we break down our filing, it is beyond, like, there's more I can't say just yet because I think we need to file first. But it lays it out. A lot of things that are very, very important that you will see that show this is a lawsuit that we had to file. There's a lot more to it. That is not just their tweet. There's more to the story. And it's a big deal. It's going to be very expensive. So we can use your support if you agree with our action. For those that aren't familiar, the Harris campaign accused me of calling for extrajudicial executions of anyone who doesn't support Trump if he wins. It violates so much of social norms. I've always been opposed to the death penalty. I have always been for sound justice. I've always advocated for the courts for proper due process. So there's a lot more to break down, I will stress, but we can use your support if you appreciate our efforts in fighting back against the machine that lies all day, every day, and tries to get away with it. So go to timcast.com. Click join us, become a member, $10 a month. And I really do appreciate that you have given me your support, everybody who did, and everybody who has who believes in us and wants to see us stand up for what we believe in. You guys make all of this possible, and I am eternally grateful. For the time being now, we'll read your super chats, and we'll get it going. T-Bomb85 says, howdy, very fine people. In fact, on this show, my friend, we're all very fine people. That's right. There's only one side here, and it is very fine people. Even you, Real Hydro, you're a very fine person.
Yeah.
Crispy Joe says, CBS, cat barbecuing service. Haha.
Rough. That is interesting that now Donald Trump can say, well, they're just pro-cat grilling your cats. Yeah. They're okay with people grilling your cats. That's such a crazy statement.
Man. Corey Kreider says, shout out for Cast Brew Coffee. My family and I just traveled, and every place my wife had coffee, her tummy hurt. She just wanted her Cast Brew. You know, I've heard really great things about Ian's Graphene Dream. People message us periodically being like, my stomach used to hurt. I didn't like drinking coffee. I tried this one and it's good. Ian intentionally was like, I need a low acidity coffee because, you know, you want it to be easier on the stomach. And apparently for a lot of people, that was a big deal.
I think about this sometimes because when I drive down here from home, at the end of my coffee, I got a little stomach. I'm like, what's going on in this thing? So I'm like thinking maybe I should try the low acidity.
That Ian's Graphene Dream. I hear it tastes good. I haven't tried it yet. I just, every morning it's Appalachian Nights. It's so good. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it, man. When we first were formulating the blends, I was like mixing grounds and stuff, and I made this one. I was like, this one's pretty good. We sent in. We were like, hey, here are the different kinds of coffee that we want to make this. It's a darker blend. They said we can make that. They made it, and it's just the best I've ever had. So good. All right, let's go.
You could see why people get into roasting coffee because I think ultimately you do, when you find what you love, you really stick by it.
I am a coffee connoisseur. Legacy Farm and Homestead, sounds like you would know, says, chickens only have 2 legs. There were 4 legs.
Yeah.
Also, there were 2 cats next
I think
to
it was
each
2
other,
cats.
right?
But it may have been 1 cat because the back looks like hind legs. You can tell by the shape of the thigh. Anybody who owns a cat. And the front, the feet curl forward like the cat's front paws.
And the body's long.
Right.
Like it looks like a feline.
Like I said, the best proof is the cat who walks through the video, right? That doesn't look like, oh, that one's definitely a chicken, but the one walking around is cat. They look similar.
His homeboy was on the grill.
All right, we got a super chat here from The Real Hydro.
Hey.
You know we love The Real Hydro. He says, Tim, I thought the show was paid by people who join your Timcast site, and that was the reason you had no sponsors. What happened? Good sir, you misunderstand. I've said we don't do mid-roll advertisement sponsors because it disrupts the flow of the conversation. We have always done pre-roll ads and sponsors because we can't just have members. It wouldn't be enough. And I got to be honest, if we had no memberships and we did only sponsorships, we could run and operate this show. But that means we do the ad in the beginning. Then at like the 30-minute mark, we say, before the next one, we're going to jump to our sponsor. Then we do 30 minutes sponsor, 30 minutes sponsor. I've been told by some of these big ad sales companies that we're missing out on, I don't know, anywhere from $10 to $30 million in sponsorships by not doing that. And there's a lot of people who are wagging their finger at me being like, imagine what you could do if you sold the slots on your podcast that you're not selling. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just don't know if I could do this show where like abruptly at half an hour in I say, wait, guys, hold that thought. Here's our sponsor, Cheesecake Emporium. Cheesecake Emporium is the best. I don't mind doing the pre-roll sponsorship. Shout out to Preserve Gold for sponsoring in the show. Those are easy. Those are great. The show starts. We say, become a member, buy Cast Brew. Here's our main sponsor. And then the show begins. And you're going to get a clean run through on the show. If you listen on the audio side, those are programmatic. YouTube and the other things have like automatically ads play when it's monetized. But we don't break up the conversation for it. So to answer your question, we've long had sponsors in the beginning. For a while, we only were reading Cast Brew, and that was to get Cast Brew off the ground. Cast Brew is doing phenomenally well. It is our second best project, like in terms of revenue generation. All of that money is being used to do the build out for the shop, to be able to expand the shops all around the country. And there's news. Considering we've been jammed up on the main building we wanted to do, I just said, can we find a strip mall storefront and open a simple shop? And in fact, nearby in Martinsburg, we may have some locations where we could get in 30 days the Casper location opened while we await the permitting for the historical building. So I'm like, make it happen. Make it happen. But I do appreciate the question because it allowed me to explain. Without members at timcast.com, we would be doing like 3 ad reads mid-show. Watch any other podcast. They all do this. Not all of them. Most of them do this. In fact, some of them do them every 15 minutes. Think about TV. TV does commercials, every like 9 minutes, 9 or 12 minutes?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Dust says, love your show. Watch it every night with the family. I wanted to shout out Baby of the Year voting going on right. My daughter name is Jessica Kenny. Baby of the Year?
Baby of the year.
He's fishing for votes. All right.
Americans are amazing. Everything's a
He's
competition.
campaigning for votes.
Oh, okay.
He's campaigning. Okay. Jessica Kenny.
I love it.
Or Baby of the Year. Let's go.
I wrote
I can't endorse her. I haven't seen the rest of them. I'm not sure yet. I'm sure she's a beautiful baby.
Hollywood Ketios says the newer GoPros can live stream. In fact, they've been able to live stream for quite some time. Crazy. Jason Dixon says 3 things. 1, I couldn't find the show. 2, the chat was missing 3 times over. 3, shout out to my boy Raymond Jr.
Mr. Jason?
Oh, yeah. Look, I can sit here and just say YouTube must be having glitches. But we've been getting people complaining that they're watching IRL and then all of a sudden, for no reason, the webpage refreshes and they're watching a different live stream. Yep.
That's crazy.
And then I can see it in the viewer counts too. And the analytics, they are abnormal. With the election coming up, I would not be surprised if the attitude over at YouTube is this. If we ban them outright, it creates big news. It'll drive people to other platforms. It doesn't effectively deal with the issue. If we slowly just increase the friction, making it harder and harder for people to watch, then people will slowly stop watching. More importantly, new viewers will not find the show. And so they're hoping that a combination of attrition and friction will get the show to end.
But folks like Jason, and when they shut me down, he's an American flag beanie, so he's been here for over 4 years. You know, like they should kind of, if they're gonna play that game, they should at least understand who they're playing the game against.
Right? Didn't you say that they unsubscribed
They unsubscribed me from the Timcast regular one at 10 a.m. I was waiting for 10. It was like 10:05. I'm like, what's going on around here? And then I found out I was unsubscribed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because they make the argument that if someone doesn't click the videos, they'll eventually unsubscribe you because they're like, you clearly don't watch this channel. And they say it's good for your channel because then it increases your percentage. The amount of subscribers versus how many views you get in a video, if it's a certain number, they'll stop recommending it. If it's like bad. Okay. You got 100,000 subs and only 1,000 watch, bad ratio. They must not like your content. So we're going to remove them. But you're watching every night.
Every day.
Allegedly. Unless you're not clicking, and that's why they unsubscribed you.
Could have been.
I'm just saying there's no proof. I don't see a video.
I had a notary. I had a notarized letter.
Oh, sure.
All right. Uncle Sam says, let's not forget phones and appliances that are always listening. We know it's true, but glaze over this possibility. Kingsley, how often have you been around Trump with your phone? This should be considered more. I think, people are saying, how did the shooter find out that Trump was going to be golfing there? Yeah. Someone super chatted a good point. I don't know if I'll find it, but they said Trump's plane was at the airport. Easy one for someone doing this to check. So Trump was likely at Mar-a-Lago, but you don't even need any of that. You can see the Secret Service standing outside when Trump is there, so you know he's there.
Yeah.
And then the guy just said, I bet I can wait at the golf course. Mm-hmm. It's easier than that. How much do you want to bet? The guy was walking by and he says, oh, is Trump coming by? What's going on? And they're like, yeah, he's playing golf. Huh. That's it. Secret Service agent might have just been like, yeah, he's playing golf, so we're here.
And even if they didn't, it's a Sunday on a beautiful day. And he's waiting for 12 hours. So he's like, I'm just going to sit here and camp out. If I get him, I get him. If I don't, I don't.
One of the things I heard is that they're waiting for the release of the additional cell phone data to see if he had been there before. Oh. What if this is just like something he does when he knows Trump is in town? He just sits outside the golf course for 12 hours, and this time he happened to pick the day that he was there.
It's crazy.
Yes, it is crazy.
David B. Gooch says, Tim, veteran biker just went live and said that all his lives have just been deleted from his channel. Love you, bro. I'll tell you what else is crazy. So normally when we go live, I put the live podcast in the Timcast IRL podcast playlist. So YouTube has two different kinds of playlists. There's podcast and playlist. And so Timcast IRL is a podcast. That's what it's called. I guess it appears on RSS feeds. And we can't. It's gone. The Timcast IRL playlist still exists on YouTube. It still exists on our channel. But when I'm going into the video, any video, I cannot select it. It does not exist. Very strange.
Does it exist on my end as a viewer, but on your inside it does?
Anybody who goes, so do this. Go to youtube.com/TimcastNews. Subscribe to that channel for my morning show. And you will scroll down and you will see that on that channel, I have Timcast IRL as a playlist on the bottom. That way, people who watch the morning show can see that we have the playlist for the nightly show and watch the reruns or whatever. That playlist exists, but I can't add this live show to it for the first time ever.
Oh.
Additionally, the shorts playlist is gone as well. The shorts, it's there, or I think it disappeared. So all the shorts are still there, but the playlist to be able to watch them all are gone. Something is going on.
That's weird to me because I feel like YouTube has spent so much time promoting shorts. To have any kind of glitch associated with it seems like a reflection of an
I don't think it's a glitch.
Or if it's intentional, or like, I'm sure they'll say it's a glitch though, right? They'll be like, oh, I don't know what happens. Everything's fine. But to have any kind of like something that could be perceived as a disturbance with shorts seems counterintuitive to how much they have spent trying to promote it in the wake of TikTok.
Christo says, Tim and crew, fan from day one. Appreciate all you do. Embarrassed to ask for help, but desperate times, desperate measures. Need a shout to help save my dog. Had surgery 3 weeks ago and was great until complication. Give, send, go, Leo the Lab. Best of luck, good sir, and I wish you the best for Leo. Hopefully you guys go to Give, Send, Go, Leo the Lab, and help save this very good boy. A very, very good boy. All right. What do we have? We'll grab some more super chats here. A lot of people commenting on the SKS and the AK-47. We'll scroll down. Tim Burr says, 37, never voted before, and after the second attempt, I registered today as a Republican because MAGA wasn't an option. Yeah, man, wow.
He said Tim Burr.
Well, was his name? Tim Burr.
Oh, I thought he was talking about your chocolate bar.
We have these protein bars we're making. We're doing a meeting this week with Mark Lobliner about we want to launch these protein bars because I was like, look, I want a protein bar that's just like peanut butter and protein.
Yeah.
Peanut butter, protein, coconut oil. I don't care. I don't want anything else. I don't need flavor. I don't need whatever. And so it was like, well, we can do a little bit better than that. So there's fiber. You have to have fiber in it because otherwise, you don't want to eat protein bars without fiber. They get stuck. And yeah. And then there's allulose in it, and that is like monk fruit extract. So it's a sugar that your body doesn't use, and it's a favorite for low glycemic or a non-glycemic. I guess it doesn't affect blood sugar. But we have those bars, and we jokingly call them Tim bars.
I like that.
Because everyone's like, Tim Bar. And I'm like, if my name was like Rick, Tim Bar is a good name. Yeah. Because you like giving like an outdoorsy vibe. But if your name is Tim, you call it Tim Bar, you're a narcissist.
So what are you going to call it? Do you guys have a name?
What if someone else called it Tim Bar?
We're going to call it Raymond G. Stanley Jr. Bar. Very long name. Super very hard to say.
Small print.
All right. Dylan S. says, I just got back from a 4-month deployment not too long ago, and I somehow paid more attention to the political cycle than people who were on dry land the whole time. Facebook is a brain rot, too.
Man.
Yep.
I wonder if that's by design, though. Like, if you are not an American, you're like, I got to keep up with what's going on. You are actively seeking out information. Where someone who's here is like, oh, I'm sure I'll hear about the news eventually. I'll pick it up on through my day to day. They're sort of not realizing what they're giving up.
Karate Chris says this makes the third attempt on Trump's life. The first was in 2016 at a Trump rally in Vegas. Michael Sandford tried to take a gun from a police officer. Was that his name? Is that correct? Can we fact check that? I know the story about a guy trying to grab the gun because he couldn't get a gun in, and they stopped him. But we'll fact check. I don't know if we knew the guy's names. What was his name?
Michael Sandford. Now,
that was his name. Wow.
Yeah, he was 20 in 2016.
Jacob Thompson
he was
said
British.
Weird. Jacob Thompson says you've got two wolves inside of you. One was lunch, the other dinner. Ha ha. Ate them both. Phantom Lord says, here I am grilling steaks, and Tim is talking about fake news and grilling cats. I'm jealous, man. We want to get a brick stove set up outside.
Oh, yeah?
So that we can just, cook. How fun will that be?
It'd be nice.
Brick stove, slide a pizza in. Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Only pizzas? Is that what they do? Brick stoves?
No, you can do anything to brick stove.
Steak and stuff?
I don't know if you're supposed to do steak, but you can cook anything. Steak should be raw. Don't take advice from me. I just go to I love it. So when I go to the restaurant, I usually just say like, chef's choice. I'll get a steak and they'll say, how do you want? I'll say, chef's choice. I assume medium rare. And they're like, yeah. Sometimes though, I'm just like, you know what, man, they might not want to hear it, but I want it rare. But the servers always go, yeah. Like they like it when you get it rare. I'm like, I'd get it blue if you'd let me.
That's why they got the little warnings too on the bottom of the menus. Like, if you get it too rare, you might get a little sick.
I just like the beef tartare. Just don't cook it.
That's so good.
Just give it to me straight up. It's healthy. All right. Brad Peters says, Governor of Ohio just confirmed in a press briefing that all bomb threats were hoaxes coming from overseas. Too bad the media won't cover it. Too bad indeed. But my friends, we must be the media. We're sitting here today. We had 47,000 concurrent viewers live watching this show. We're going to be the media. Now, it is decentralized. It is a challenge. So it takes more than just us here at Timcast. It takes everybody and all the other shows. Shout out to them. But we're gonna win out. We're already doing really well. So many people have had their eyes opened by various podcasts and independent producers and journalists. But of course, this is why they want to shut us down. Open an incognito tab or get a brand new laptop. Go to YouTube and look at the stuff they're feeding to people. It's on purpose. There ain't no way YouTube would ever put a show like Timcast IRL default front page. Nah.
Yeah, I can see that.
They put Stephen Colbert. They put Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, whatever. And that stuff is just lies and manipulation. But think about how crazy it is. I got a question for you, YouTube. I got a question. Why is it that Stephen Colbert can do an opening monologue where he says Trump is a crazy dictator fascist, and you will put that on the front page of YouTube. We do a show where we say, tone it down. We just want to, we want people to go out there and go vote. And you're like, nah, this is not the stuff that we want the American people to see. Let's just say we are as bad as Colbert in the other direction. Sure. Then why don't we get the same push? They choose the winners and the losers. They want people to see Colbert. It is a dirty game.
It is.
Dirty game. The Jitty Kriegsman says, when I was in Korea, there were some people who ate dogs. I didn't have to tell them not to do it. In the USA, we don't eat cats and dogs. If you are here, you should play by our rules or leave. Yeah, and it's illegal to eat cats and dogs and waterfowl. Migratory birds are protected federally. There's certain hunting seasons, but you can't just go out. You can't do it. All right, let's grab some more. What have we here? Martin Edgar says that is always the government's answer. If it is broken, throw more money at it, which always ends up making it worse. That is indeed what a lot of people do.
That's why we need Elon Musk to be in charge of what does he want to do? Government Efficiency Committee?
Department of Government Efficiency.
That's right, yeah.
Or Doge.
I love it.
Is that actual? I thought it was just a meme. He actually wants to do that?
Department. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so they say he wants to run a government
agree.
efficiency,
Nice.
czar or something, which would be Doge.
Did he close the Twitter or X headquarters in San Francisco over the weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Mm-hmm. Officially.
Really? End of an era, man.
He's making moves. God bless him.
And now he's relocating where to Texas?
Yeah.
I wish Texas had better weather. We want to set up a satellite studio in another city. So that way, when we do events, shows, right now we're in the DC area, which is great because we got Congress right here. We can go to Congress and do a show. Like we went to Gates' office and Boebert's office. We just did at this location in DC, which was like a club. It was like a political institution.
It was a nice little place.
Yeah, so it's easy for us to get access to politicians. But what if we want to get, other prominent personalities? You got two great cities for this. You've got Nashville and you've got Austin. A lot of people live in Nashville. Yeah. I think Robbie Starbuck's there, right? Mm-hmm. Robbie Starbuck's in Nashville. He's doing a great job. And so sometimes they're like, man, sorry, I can't travel right now. And we're like, so what if? And so we looked at Austin, but I just don't like Austin. I just can't. Michael Mouse is there, and we love the guy. It would be great if we could always just snag him, have him come on whenever he had free time. But Austin, Nashville seems pretty good though because it's really close to us. It's really easy.
The weather is more similar to here too.
Yeah, it's a temperate climate.
Yep, and they got music, and so we have our music projects too. We're looking at the new song "Coming Home" with an estimated, hopefully, the 27th. That could be 11 days.
Yeah.
However, it may have to be October 11th because I don't know if we're going to be ready. If we'll be ready. But we produce music too. So setting up like a satellite in Nashville probably would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Then what we would do is we would just spend a week in Nashville, line up a bunch of Nashville guests, and then fly back. But we'd have like a place studio. It'd be great. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, Nashville's cool.
Would be fun. Domestic Tourist says, I spent $23,000 to save my dog's life from bone cancer, and it was worth every penny. He's got 3 legs now, but gets along just fine and is totally cancer-free. Shout out to Scout, the best boy. Hear, hear.
Love it.
Shout out.
Christo says, help my pups, guys. Give, send, go, Leo the Lab. Venmo, Leo the Lab. I hope we can help Leo. Domestic Tourist had $23K to save his dog's life. Leo needs help too. He has 3 legs, but he gets along just fine and is totally cancer-free. I mean, I remember when the last family dog I had, he was just too old. He couldn't stand anymore. He couldn't go to the bathroom. He was at the point in his life where he had to squeeze him to go to the bathroom for him. He was just done. And what do? If there was a medical treatment that would have brought him back, I'd have paid for it. But there's nothing you can do at that point. Now, if your dog is young, he's got bone cancer, you want as much time as you can with your dog. It's crazy. Yeah. All right, let's grab a couple more super chats here. There was a couple good ones that I wanted to read. Let me see if I can find them because I have to give credit to this dude. He had a couple good ones, but they seem to have disappeared. I think YouTube did something to the super
More
chats.
glitches.
Yeah, for real. Because I'm scrolling. This happens a lot. And I'm like, where are they? Someone super chatted like $150. And it's gone. It is gone. Where did it go? YouTube took it away. They didn't like it. No, they did not. Let me keep scrolling and see if I can find it. Because this guy deserves a shit. No, they're gone. Wow, that's crazy. Jeez. Dean Jackson says, hi from Australia. You should do a carnivore diet culture war. I think that'd be great. I've been doing keto again, and I just feel so much better. Sorry. I did keto for 2 years. I felt really good. Then I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do keto anymore. I got a personal trainer. He said start eating carbs. I did not like it. Yeah, ups and downs. I could eat nothing all day and feel and have total energy. I just, for whatever reason. I skated today. I barely ate anything. I'm like, I don't need to eat. I don't know. I probably should just have to eat at some point.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. Protein shakes, though. Protein shakes. Mr. Hopstopper says the shooter from yesterday, the suspect, mind you, is in a Ukraine war ad commercial, and the shooter in July was in a BlackRock one. Coincidence?
Yeah, they're both in BlackRock commercials.
And wasn't it like
they're both in BlackRock commercials?
Yeah, I believe that I'm almost 100%, 89% positive the dude, like for a quick second, was in a BlackRock commercial.
The Pennsylvania one that was at his like high school.
Yeah, and then the other guy was standing there and just was faced real quick
And
as they were talking about
the
BlackRock.
Ukrainian video was like an Azov battalion video, right? I think.
I'm not sure, maybe.
I mean, Tim, I'm like 98%.
I see a lot of people are saying that he was in a BlackRock commercial. Yo, this is wild. I got the super chat pulled up right here, but it's not appearing in our actual super chats.
Is that by Grizzly or Justin?
There's two of them, yeah. So Grizzly says, I fought for this country and it breaks my damn heart. People are so dumb. They won't even take 5 minutes out of their lives to look up simple facts, Trump 2024. And then so I can see the super chat in the chat, but it's not in our viewer activity super chat. And so I can't read. What is this? This is ridiculous. I can't read them. They're not here. YouTube is not showing them.
I'm scrolling the whole way too. I don't see nothing.
Yup. Weird stuff, man. Weird stuff. Someone then responded to him and tried. He said, to all the people who are insulting me for super chatting, yeah, it just sucks that you don't have the money to super chat too. So I wanted to give him a shout out and appreciate the support. But there were two other super chats. So sorry to Justin Earltz. YouTube, I see your super chat, but YouTube got rid of it.
I see 2 of 2. I don't see 1 of 2.
Right. Yeah, but I'll give the gist of what he said. He says he doesn't like the right's anti-drug attitude. He says some of the most painful times in his life, pain from horrible ish, F the left, F the right. I'm DJT because he had RFK and is the only one not effing insane, and he still kind of is. LOL. Enjoy the ride. I would whip your ass at MTG. Bye now, kiss. Well, I mean, I don't play standard. I play commander. And my commander decks are all ridiculous top tier decks. So we'll see. I'll give you one final thought. And this one's for you because you gave me a good super chat. I've got a, Oscar commander deck. Not even top tier commander, but with his ability, whenever you discard a card, you can play it. I just, what is it? Necropotence, 39 HP down to 1. Draw 39 cards, discard them, instantly play them all. Thassa's Oracle, Demonic Consultation. You lose instantly. Anyway, you heard it. That means I beat you. I don't know, we should play a game. Everybody smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, become a member at timcast.com right now because that members only show is coming up for you and it's not so family friendly, okay, but it is fun. And you as members call in and make the show extra special. So we really do appreciate your support as members. And I'm actually thinking too, there's probably something we can do with our road shows. I think it'd be really cool if we actually had our recurring, for the people who have called into the show on more than one occasion and host the shows on the members only, I think it'd be great to have you guys come in our third chair seat or join the show too. So be a member. Let's make this a big community thing and make this show something special. You can follow me on X at Timcast. Make sure, once again, you share that show with your friends. Kingsley, do you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, please follow me. I'm Kingsley Wilson on all of the platforms. And also just one more time, want to shout out the documentary that I produced and directed. You can go to thejeffclarkstory.com for more.
Hey, friends, I am Raymond G. Stanley Jr. on X at Raymond G. Stanley. We have 50 days until this election. Remember, you have to get fit. There is a Fitcast IRL on X. Which is a great community, and our friend Chris Bertman's been involved. So he's a new father, soon to be, him and his wife. So I want to shout that out. And Miss Hannah Claire.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry that America won't give up on historic events. It's crazy. No, but seriously, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are the backbone of a lot of stuff that we do here. If you want to see my work or work from Chris Bertman, Chris Carr, Adrian Norman, the rest of the Scanner team, go to scnr.com. You can also look at Timcast News on the internet. I'm HannahClaire.b on Instagram, and I'm HannahClaireB on X. Thanks again for everything you do. Have a good night.
So one last thing before we go. We got We Are Change in the chat. Luke Rutkowski, he says, stop this nerd talk. Nerd alert. Hold on there, Luke. Ignoramus. Nerds are people who are book smart. We're geeks. Geeks are people who are deeply involved in fandoms and games. I bet you're so embarrassed. We'll see y'all at timcast.com in a minute. Thanks for hanging out.